Recording stopped. Recording in progress.
Morning, everyone. Nice crowd. We're going to pass the plate in a minute, $2 a head. Lower the tax rate. All right, let's call the meeting to order. Today is Tuesday, March 18th, 2025, 9 a.m. Proof of posting, please.
The agenda was posted on Thursday, March 13th, 2025 at 4:15 p.m. and a supplemental agenda was posted on Friday, March 14th, 2025 at 2:30 p.m.
Thank you. All right, let's stand briefly for a moment of silence, and then we'll have the pledge of flag led by Veteran Service Officer Steve Hernandez.
Please join the pledge. Pledge of allegiance.
We have, at this time, if there are any members of the public who want to speak to the court on business matters, please do so at this time. Seeing none, I'd like to go to, under D, under proclamations and resolutions. We have a few of those before we have a recognition of the Vega's sporting achievements. We go into item D1. I'd like to call on Commissioner Jim Smith.
Yes, sir. We do this, I think, yearly. The bikers meet and ask that we provide them with a proclamation, I think, thanking them for their efforts in the group called Bikers Against Child Abuse. And that rally will take place late April, and we'll read the proclamation at that time. So today, I would just ask that the Commissioners Court approve that proclamation to be read at that time.
Is that a motion?
Yes, sir.
I have a second. I have a motion second. Any other questions, comments? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Pass. All right. Going to item D2, proclamation recognizing and honoring Molly Renfroe for her 53 years of service and dedication to McLennan County.
Come on up, Molly.
So, Dustin, you want to read that proclamation? And Molly, come forward.
Yes, sir. So this is a proclamation recognizing and honoring Molly Renfroe for her 53 years of service and dedication to McLennan County. Whereas Molly A. Renfroe attended McLennan Community College and worked part-time at the McLennan County Courthouse for the Justice of the Peace Courts under Judge Joe Johnson and Judge John Cabanas. And whereas after completing her classes at MCC, she worked in the offices of Patrick and Witt Furniture and later at Armstrong Jewelers. Whereas in 1971, Molly was drawn back to the courthouse working for the county treasurer, Mr. John Hunt. In 1975, she returned to the office of the Justice of the Peace Court of Judge Joe Johnson, then under Judge Alan Mayfield, and later Judge Cindy Evans. And whereas in 1994, she began her inspirational tenure with the 74th District Court under Judge Alan Mayfield and finally under Judge Gary Coley. And whereas Molly is described as wonderful, dependable, and conscientious, a very special lady and an inspiration. And finally, Molly makes us all realize what a great place we work at. If you truly love your job, 53 years can just fly by. And whereas Molly has said, like what you do or don't do it, always make an effort to get along with others and remember that no one is perfect. Therefore, the McLennan County Commissioners Court does hereby and officially congratulates Molly Renfroe for 53 years of service, dedication, and inspiration to McLennan County. Be it further proclaimed that a copy of this proclamation be made a permanent part of the minutes of the Commissioners Court. Judge?
All right, thank you. I make a motion, we approve that proclamation.
Second.
Motion is made and second. Any other discussion? Other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass. Well, Molly, I understand that you started here when you were 10 years old.
Right.
Yes, and you have agreed with this proclamation, accepting it, that you won't tell any stories on some people that are still here. Molly, do you have anything you want to say to folks here?
Well, just thank you, and I hope somebody else can beat me as far as years.
give a standing ovation, because I know I won't beat 50 feet.
Okay. All right, next is item D3, a proclamation recognizing the week of the young child. Dustin, if you'll read that into the minutes.
Yes, sir. This is a proclamation of the Commissioners Court of McLennan County, Texas, recognizing the Week of the Young Child. Whereas the Commissioners Court of McLennan County, in conjunction with United Way of Waco McLennan County, the McLennan County Child Wellbeing Movement, and the National Association for the Education of Young Children, is celebrating the Week of the Young Child, April 5th through April 11th, 2025. And whereas the McLennan County Child Wellbeing Movement, a collaborative of community residents and local organizations, has developed a community action plan which includes strategies to address the need for more high-quality early learning opportunities and stronger supports for McLennan County families that in turn can provide a foundation of well-being for the more than 21,000 children between the ages of 0 to 5 living in McLennan County. And whereas teachers, nonprofits, early childhood professionals, healthcare professionals, and others who make a difference in the lives of young children in McLennan County deserve thanks and recognition. And whereas public policies that support early learning for all young children are crucial to young children's futures and to the prosperity of our society. And whereas the future of our great country depends on the quality of life we provide to our youngest residents today. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Commissioners Court of McLennan County does hereby proclaim April 5th through the 11th, 2025 as the Week of the Young Child in McLennan County and encourage all residents and organizations across sectors to join the McLennan County Child Wellbeing Movement in its effort to make a good investment in early childhood in McLennan County. Be it further proclaimed that a copy of this proclamation be made a permanent part of the minutes of the Commissioners Court. Judge?
All right, thank you. Is anyone here from United Way to accept this? If not, I would accept it on behalf of United Way, and especially for the young folks that are here today. Many of these nonprofit organizations are made available using. We can't always depend on and shouldn't depend on the government to always take care of us. We need to be pitching in ourselves and help each other. United Way is just an example of an organization that raises funds from folks around working people around the community to help your friends and neighbors. And this is just one example of what United Way does with taking specific issues that are critical to a community and be able to handle a lot of these issues on our own. So I want to thank the court for providing this proclamation. In fact, I'd make a motion that we approve this proclamation.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Pass. Thank you. All right, for the moment we've been waiting for, I'd like to go to supplemental item agenda B1. This is a presentation of plaque honoring the Vega High School fair team, science fair team.
There's 19 scholars here and also the coordinator, so we decided, instead of going paper, we decided to go with plaque. So my allergies are really good today.
Okay.
So my executive assistant is going to read this for us.
You can hold it, Commissioner.
I'll hold it and you can.
I'm going to actually.
Never mind.
So, Dr. Shields, would you like to come up and, or whoever you want?
I'm on up here too. This has got her name on the plaque.
In recognition of the outstanding achievements of the La Vega High School Science Fair team, who demonstrated exceptional dedication, creativity, and scientific excellence at the 2025 Regional Science Fair. Through hard work, determination, and a passion for discovery, all 19 scholars made a competitive impact, with each student advancing to the state competition. Their innovative projects reflect a deep commitment to solving real-world challenges and pushing the boundaries of scientific exploration. These students' achievements are a testament to their hard work, intellect, and vision for a better future. Their projects showcase innovative thinking and a dedication to addressing environmental, technological, and social changes. Gia Zuniga and Ian Vaquera for Ecofiber and Seaweed Alternative Fabric. Ramon Gallegos and Daniel Puente, Eco Pavers, recovering waterway waste to engineer an eco brick to fund housing insecurity. Brooklyn Gravit, Landon Archer and Bree Powers, EcoThreads, turning discarded fashion into community resources. Camila Torres and Amy Hernandez, Calm Down and Level Up. Ray Stoll, Jalen Valenzuela, and Carlos Orelanos, quantifying community impact, the effect of early college high schools. Giselle Garcia Sanchez, Zamil Guadrano, and Desiree Washburn, analyzing the impact of cellular devices on student learning. Matthew Stingley, X5, optimizing embedded multimedia systems with next-gen operating systems. Zane Stoll, Israel Garba, and Anaya Shoemaker, fostering memories, photo app, and foster care. A special recognition is given to the Science Fair coordinator, Ms. Rachel Stoll, whose unwavering support, mentorship, and leadership have been instrumental in guiding these students to success. Her dedication to fostering scientific curiosity and excellence has made a lasting impact on the lives of these young scholars. Presented by McLennan County Commissioners Jim Smith, D.L. Wilson, Will Jones, Ben Perry, and Judge Scott Felton. Congratulations to the entire La Vega High School Science Fair team for your remarkable accomplishments. Your passion and perseverance exemplify the spirit of discovery and the pursuit of knowledge. Go Pirates!
Two astronauts that are getting to come home today. Yes. Science means a lot about that. So you got to think about that. We're just a small starting part, but the kids and the men and women that make that happen went to high school just like y'all. So think about that. I mean, it's amazing. And then, you know, there's a lot of opportunities that you're going to have in the United States of America, and McLennan County, and Precinct too. So we appreciate that.
I know it's going to be really hard.
We're going to take a 5-minute break. You want to do it outside?
Not really.
Okay.
All right.
Come on. Huddle up. No hiding in your shorts.
Yeah.
Let us go behind.
It's been everywhere.
Stack. Tallest in the back, guys.
Yeah.
You're gonna probably need to wrap it. You're gonna come. I don't know if she can fit it all in a frame. You let us know what we need to do. Okay, everyone 3 steps to the left. Left and right.
Can't move like that.
4 steps to the left.
There it was. I wasn't involved.
3, you're gonna step forward.
Big steps.
Big steps.
Zane needs to be like over here.
Keep moving. Miss Stoley, right? Keep moving. There we go. Now. Okay. Strut. Turn sideways. What'd you do, Carlos?
I was going to go backwards. There you go.
All right.
Start looking a little bit more.
Well, there's a lot of cuteness.
Awesome. Okay. Oh, that's perfect. 1, 2, 3, smile. Got it. Don't move. Commissioner Smith, Jones, and Perry.
Come on. You want the eye candy to go down there for
You can't stand in the back, sir. You got
Hey.
Hey, I was in the picture, just they couldn't see me.
Working on it. Let me get here. I'm not blocking. I'm just kidding.
Oh.
Everyone ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And I need the educators.
Hey guys, Jason would like to know if you can put up your ID.
Absolutely, that was next.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Perfect. So I got everybody, and I have windows ready. 1, 2, 3. And say, go Pirates on 3. 1, 2, 3. Go Pirates! Yes.
Thank you so much. Yes, sir. Oh, we will. We definitely will. Thank you very much.
Okay, we will recess the court for 5 minutes.
Which I think you. It's not, it's Pirates. We expect our favorite part of Pirates.
Jason, can you get my keys and stuff?
Judge, let's go out. Last night, they pulled up little sofas. we need to take care of that last proclamation.
Okay, was that a proclamation? It's not it's just to
It
present.
was on a supplemental.
Right, but it doesn't say.
It was just said presentation. I guess motion to approve the plaque.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, for recording purposes. All right,
A motion and a second.
all right, have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No discussion, all in favor say aye.
Thank you. Thank y'all.
All right,
Didn't want to do 19 pieces of papers.
I would, like to go to, item, G1. This is authorization of a contract for services for Greater Waco Collective Impact, Initiative, DBA Prosper Waco. So Jessica?
I believe there's a slide. Is there a clicker?
IT should have it. I can make sure they have
Slides.
Some slides.
We still do slideshows?
Hey, it's greatly reduced after last year, Commissioner.
She's been up since.
Commissioner Wilson, you missed it. Count yourself lucky. I think I had about 100 slides. I've reduced it to 10, maybe.
The old machine where you push it in, pull it out.
And she's been up since 4 this morning working on this, so we need to pay attention.
No, well, I can start, if the slides aren't ready, I can really kind of walk us through some highlights. I want to be respectful of
I think
everyone.
that would be.
Here it is.
There you go.
One.
Nope,
Oh,
wrong
nope,
one.
nope.
You mind presenting for that?
I'm not prepared to speak on that. I'm happy to just dive in, y'all. Judge, commissioners, good morning. Thank you so much for inviting me to join you all here today. I'm here to just give you really kind of a look back at 2024 and a look ahead. And I say 2024, really, we're looking back at the last 12 months since we engaged in our initial contract. Which was to support the behavioral health leadership team. And just as a refresher, this initiative is jointly funded by McLennan County, the City of Waco, Heart of Texas Behavioral Health Network, Waco Family Medicine, Baylor Scott and White, and Ascension Providence. So we're really pleased to have such robust collaboration and support for this work. So when I look back at 2024, it was really a year of alignment and action and a lot of really laying the foundation. So we took the first steps of developing shared measurements. We led the steering committee in priority setting and identifying metrics with the data sharing action team. Part of our work at Prosper Waco is really to help drive data-driven action. And so that meant spending a lot of time identifying baseline data and the metrics that we wanted to use, developing and finalizing data sharing agreements with our partners and collecting baseline data. It sounds like a small task, but I can assure you, that took months and months of deep collaboration with numerous partners and different entities within different organizations to be able to get the relevant data. So I'm pleased with the progress that we have and how that will allow us to plan moving forward. We're now in the process of kind of analyzing that data, and we'll be receiving from our partners quarterly data for evaluation and impact. So that's exciting. Next slide. I won't go into all of these, but you all, I know, will have the slides available to you. But we had the steering committee, the behavioral health leadership team, identified 7 core problems, and we are working on strategies to alleviate those problems. First, and probably most salient, is the closure and lack of inpatient behavioral health care. I think we all have felt the impact with the closure of Ascension's DePaul and are actively working on restoring and expanding inpatient bed capacity. We're also concerned with the limited access to high-quality primary care. We know that there's a lot of mental and behavioral health challenges that can be addressed and remediated within the primary care setting. Workforce shortages. We all understand the importance of having a skilled and robust workforce to our different industry partners, and the healthcare industry is no different. Next slide, please. The hospital's interest in this is addressing the ED overcrowding and overutilization. We're pleased to see the diversion center come online, and really now we're working with those partners to monitor and figure out strategies to ensure that that center is operating as intended to help divert people from the EDs. Substance use and disorder, child and adolescent behavioral health, and then of particular interest, obviously, to the county is the high cost of jailing those with behavioral health crisis. You all have such a gem in Major Ives and as well as Chief Deputy Blossman, and so it's been a real treat to really dig into some of this with them and identifying the key metrics and needles that we want to move and the strategies that we think could be impactful as a community to help with jail diversion. Next slide. And as Commissioner Perry joked that I was up early, so this is just a function, and apologies coming back up from spring break. This is in 2024. So when this was kicked off in March of last year, we had 7 BHLT steering committee meetings. I think year to date in 2025, Judge, 10? No, it hasn't really been that many, but we've had there have been multiple months as we've been working on some projects that have required even an additional monthly meeting. So really pleased to see that work. We have stood up 2 action teams that have been working on crisis response and data sharing. And at the last steering committee meeting, that group approved standing up a specific law enforcement task force, as well as a specific effort to address child and adolescent mental health. I think what we saw was that without having kind of really focused conversations, we weren't getting deep enough on the law enforcement side, which was a really critical part of what everyone wanted to see. So we're excited to continue that work. We've had convened behavioral health coalition meetings with bringing together over 40 local organizations, so really helping in that bridging, building community awareness. And so just a host of steering committee and action team meetings. We recognize that behavioral health and physical health are inextricably linked, and so we've been pleased also to convene the Hunger Free Community Coalition Steering Committee and action teams, and then really, working with the city and the county on law enforcement efforts to streamline and opening channels of communication. Next slide. So as we look ahead, kind of where we are, for the continuation of the BHLT, and I will share, all of the other funding partners are committed to continuing their funding piece. We've been working deeply with this group of partners to support the request to the legislature for funding behavioral health needs in our community. We'll continue convening in the steering committee and action teams, and again, really focusing in on supporting crisis response and law enforcement relief. We've done used some sequential intercept mapping that has been done to identify gaps, and we'll be working on developing an action plan to really assist in the crisis response. Next slide. I also wanted to mention, I'd be remiss to mention something that was a little bit outside of the scope that was emerged as an issue. Was Judge Slaughton shared that a lot of that the sheriff's office was feeling kind of the pain of having to respond to local skilled nursing and long-term care facilities, and that there were residents who would have behavioral health challenges and were oftentimes being kicked out of these skilled nursing and long-term care facilities. So we've been convening a series of meetings, bringing those partners together, identifying what those challenges are, and trying to really facilitate dialogue so that those facilities understand how to better reply and make better use of law enforcement. We are also working with Baylor, with the Garland School of Social Work, to develop a training for the providers. So that will be really exciting to see that come to fruition, and I'm grateful for the partnership with Baylor and how we expect that will help build capacity in the skilled nursing and long-term care facilities, so that they don't just pick up the phone and call 911 or call the sheriff's office or PD. And I mentioned the sequential intercept model, which is, again, just really focusing on crisis response. So we're excited to continue to build that out. Next slide. The way that we organized these slides was looking at our contract with the county. If there's kind of the 6 different components, so I kind of wanted to give a few, not comprehensive, but a few examples within each of those elements. Right now, we have been working deeply in mapping medical clearance. And in fact, I have a meeting just here shortly. So with the end goal of developing a decision support tool, we have, again, a great facility in the diversion center and want to support working with our medical providers and to ensure that we are helping to see the ED relief and medical clearance happening there. Next slide. One of the things that we set out to do with this work is securing funding. So a couple of examples that I wanted to share was we identified funding opportunities and helped community organizations explore pursuing grant opportunities. There was the State Crisis Intervention Grant for a multidisciplinary response team and a SUD facility construction. Both of those, in those instances, unfortunately, the community partner that would have been applying decided not to apply, but we still spent a lot of work giving them the data, looking at analysis, looking at maps, looking at population characteristics to help inform that decision. One that was exciting that our team did submit for and that we are hopeful will get funding, which we will in turn pass through to Waco Family Medicine and to partnering school districts, is for a grant through the EPA. I learned through this process that there is a zip code in McLennan County that has the 2nd highest blood lead level concentration in the United States. And that was alarming to me. It was something that I feel like I'm a pretty well-informed community member, and I had never heard that data point. And there's a huge correlation between blood lead level concentration and behavioral health disorders, and particularly with ADHD. And undiagnosed ADHD is just hugely disruptive to schools and often leads to developing additional behavioral health diagnoses left untreated. So working on a screening, we're hopeful if that grant is funded, it will we'll be able to do community-wide screenings and treatment for youth, and really focusing in on that zip code. We also secured funding for the Hunger Free for our community to participate in the Hunger Free Community Coalition Accelerator. It's just worth saying that this is an initiative that was of special. That I think held a special place in Commissioner Miller's heart in addressing food insecurity and hunger in our community. So we just 2 weeks ago got word of that, but we're really excited to continue to build out that work. And I think there may be one more slide, and then I'll wrap up. Yeah, that's it. So we're, again, just really grateful for the opportunity to partner with you all. I'm really excited for the road ahead. It's been a lot of work in the convening and the data gathering and getting baseline data, but I feel very optimistic about the path forward and continued impact. And so with that,
I'd like to follow up with a couple of things. Just listening to this last year's made a big difference in improvement in the amount of communication we have with all the entities that are dealing with mental health issues. The primary ones, Behavioral Health Network, and then hospital administration and law enforcement. And it's the most complex issue that I've seen us deal with. And we've been working on it a while, but I think with the new structure in Prosper Waco, and plus give kudos to you did a great job hiring 2 staff people.
Thank you.
That are doing a great job in taking data that we're providing and the data y'all are providing and blending it together to see the areas that need the most attention. Also, being able to communicate with BHN Diversion Center, it's up and running. We were on a call yesterday with Ryan Adams, and feel very good about where we are with that regard. Next step is working with the patrol folks on, what's the best process, everybody understand when crisis is met in the street or wherever it is or in a school, what's the quickest way to be able to respond to that and get that person, that individual turned around if possible, especially those that aren't violent, that we can look at diversion and those things. And also, Dustin, I'll ask you to pitch in. Y'all recall that, just for public information, McLennan County was involved in litigation on we call it the opioid settlement agreement, with the amount of problems that opioid prescriptions were not really watched and cared for, done properly, and we think that's a big impact on mental health and alcohol and drug abuse that's out there. And so in that settlement, there's money that's coming towards that, and we identified this contract is one that we can apply those funds towards when we get them. It's kind of scattered out, but there's still settlements that are happening in that as well. So Dustin, why don't you give a update on that, and then how we would, along with Francis, about how we could, when those funds come in, how we could offset or reimburse ourselves for these costs up to the extent that it comes in.
Yes, sir. So this is a $200,000 annual contract. It's the renewal of that, so it's another $200,000 for this year. So visiting with Francis this morning, they're currently zero opioid funds. They had gone to pay the previous year, but we can do this under general fund, and then as those opioid settlement funds come in, they can be it can essentially be reclassified to those funds going forward, if that's how the court would like to handle it. I just want to echo what Judge said. Really, been a lot of really high quality work, and I know this is something that Commissioner Jones and Judge have both been a part of for a number of years, and myself as well. But really, high level of work being done, and seen a lot of movement in this area thanks to Jessica and her team. So, Francis, is there anything you would like to add?
No, I don't think so. I think you covered it, like you said, before September 30th, if we do receive opioid funding, we can use that to cover this cost. But right now, if you approve, we'll use general fund in the time being, anticipating those funds.
And we don't have a set schedule. Herb had provided, a spreadsheet before that kind of looked at some of the timing. We thought it would be, roughly over $100,000 per year coming in. And there are ongoing settlements too that will increase that number for a period of about 10 years or so. But we just don't know exact timing on when those funds will be received. And do want to point out that the opioid Abatement Council has been meeting. They've announced a round of grants this spring. Issue is there's only about $350,000 that's been allocated for our 6 or 7 county region that we're in, with a grant maximum of around $68,000. So it's not going to be quite as beneficial as we initially thought, but we will be active, maybe partnering with BHN or others to look at being able to apply for those funds. And then there'll be another round of those either over the summer or the fall, which should expand that funding a little bit as well.
Okay. Any questions?
The contract was originally inked on July the 2nd of 24. Is that correct? Is that what I'm seeing here?
Let me pull it up, Commissioner. I know the start date on it was actually in March, I believe.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's fine. I'm just seeing this just July date, and that's.
Yeah, I believe I'm looking at the payment from last year. March 18th was when we entered that invoice, which is exactly a year ago today.
Yes, and I think the term was March 1st, 24 to February 28th, 25, and then we've been working with Jessica just on this renewal. So this would actually renew as of March 1st, 2025.
Other questions? Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to, so then if the payment's due, but the opioid, whatever, the opium
Yeah.
settlement hasn't come in yet,
So if it comes in after the fact, will it just go back to general funds?
So that, yeah, the cost will just remain in general fund, and we can use contingencies, and we have sufficient contingencies at this time.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this was a, a program that we want to be involved in, and really the opioid settlement deal is coming in after that, and so with it, there are certain things that you can apply it to, and this was the perfect thing to do it. So we said, well, when we get those funds, we'll apply it towards this because it qualifies. So even without the opioid, it was our interest to be a part of this program to, like I said, effectively make an impact on the amount of emergency room folks, getting diversion center fully functional, and jail diversion.
How many people are in the diversion center right now? Or how many are they seeing each?
So, go ahead.
Well, and I'm sorry, last time when I came, Daniel Thompson came here with me, and and Jackson, Dr. Griggs, just to speak to the community support. I don't know those numbers offhand, Commissioner, but they have been sharing. We've just got a big tranche of data from them Friday and then also yesterday. I know that last week they had 11 of their 12 crisis beds filled. I think that they have seen a 57% increase in daybed utilization. But again, we got a lot of data from them really Friday of last week that my team spent time kind of trying to synthesize over the weekend to make sense of. So
It would be good to know what that,
So we have a BHN
What the-
representative here.
what the utilization of the diversion center is.
Yeah, I know that there has been a.
If you don't mind, come forward because I need to speak in, and for the record, just introduce yourself and who you're with.
I'm Linda Bonds. I'm the Associate Director of Behavioral Health Services with Heartache's Behavioral Health Network. Yes, there has actually been like a 57% uptick in use of the diversion center. And I think part of that was the meal preparation and.
So that was kind of what I was, I didn't want to allude to that, but is the facility fully functional?
Yes, my understanding is they are fully operational at this point.
Yeah,
Okay, well, that's good to know.
that's what Ryan
And
said.
we're talking about the beds in the new
Yeah,
facility?
yeah, and then pre-clearance, that's got that going, but there's as suggested by some of the hospital administration that there might be some more help coming that way, and even Waco Family Medicine involvement. And the other thing that we learned through these conversations is blood work, labs, getting lab work that they need on part of the pre-clearance deal to speed it up, and Jackson Griggs has got some ideas on that along with the hospitals. So in other words, all the parts are there, and we're streamlining and more efficient, and we have a little ways to go, but we've come a long way for it to be fully functional. So
Out of curiosity, those 11 beds that are full, I know we've discussed this in the past, are those all from McLennan County?
They accept all from around.
I know they do,
around
yeah,
6.
right,
So
but-
I'm certainly not, I don't have the data in front of me on how many were McLennan versus how many were from other counties. But we accept from especially the 6-county catchment area.
yeah.
We do
So it
that. I
could
was just curious
potentially.
how many of them were from our county versus.
And that's information that we can get, and
we could collect that.
probably need to, because it is, there's gonna be a point where we talk to these other counties. I've talked to several county judges about this that do not have the all the ability to handle mental health folks, and so we're a catchment area for many of those. And private people that just say, I'm in a mental health or crisis, or my family member identifies it and drives them over because there's not anyone that can deal with it in a small county, so they come over here. So
Has there been any discussions with Oceans about
yes.
diversion? They
Well,
help us with
discussions with
diversion?
Oceans has to do with the DePaul facility
Uh-huh.
that they're
The long-term beds, per
yeah,
se?
they're looking at in pretty serious talks about being a part of that that would benefit us, but I don't know exactly where all the discussions are, but.
Judge, if I may add to that, my understanding from the conversations, and it's been great to include their Ocean CEO, has made a big effort to come down from Dallas now on numerous occasions to be a part of these conversations and planning, is they're exploring at the DePaul facility would be an adolescent inpatient as well as outpatient services. I think that they were planning a 24-bed unit there.
Wow.
24 adolescent beds, which would be huge. He also identified that they have usually about 10 beds, adult beds that could be made available for indigent funding. So our LMHA is the conduit for private purchase beds. And so they are, if we're successful in getting state appropriations, a big chunk of that is contemplated to be to give additional private purchase beds through BHN that Oceans would make available for indigent care here. So that would be an additional 10 beds. That would be huge, huge.
Double our capacity.
And Judge, 15 years ago, when I took this seat right here, mental health was the one thing that everybody talked about, but absolutely had no clue what to do with it. Fast forward to today.
Yep.
And I applaud all of you that have sat on the BHLT. I appreciate Prosper getting involved and you guys providing the leadership that you have so far, because we've come a long way.
Yeah.
Thank you, Commissioner.
What are the comments? Just, I appreciate the fact y'all are using data-driven measurements. I'm a big believer in something concrete that you can wrap your mind around, and not something that's abstract like everybody left feeling good. You know what I'm saying? Something you can actually say, yes, we're doing what our goals are. We can measure that. So I do appreciate that.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Well, I'm the newest guy on the block, and I just came from the front lines of the high schools and the elementaries and the junior highs, and we've got a big need for this, especially for police officers for training. It's, we've had a lot of police officers on, and we've had in the past, but every high school has a police officer now, and they're not trained in this. And if you talk to the counselor says, oh, I'm not trained in that. So we're kind of behind the 8 ball on that. So I'm hoping through the sheriff's department, we can, all work together and include those school resource officers or their own police departments. We have a lot of smaller towns between Moody, Axtell, Riesel, Mart. They have their own police departments in the schools now. So we really need to incorporate those in getting those in this training. So
Absolutely. Thank you, Commissioner.
Okay, any other questions or comments? All right, what's the pleasure of the court?
Motion to approve the contract.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass. Okay,
Thank you, Judge.
Judge, Commissioners, thank you all.
Linda, if you can hang on just a minute, I got one other item to go to, and then we'll come back to you. Thank you. All right, I'd like to go to items I2G2 under Heart of Texas Fair, Extraco Event Center regarding capital expenditures, and from there I want to go to item L1. This is the Heart of Texas Fair and Extraco Event Center discussion and our action regarding the update on the recommendations for our Populous Incorporated.
And Judge, I'm sorry, before we do the Populous, could we do the consent agenda? We can go ahead and do this item with Wes, but could we do it before we did L1?
Okay, we sure can, because we have to get paychecks out, right? So, all right, I've got recommended pulls on the consent agenda as E3A, HR matter for adult probation, and E3B, HR matter for emergency management coordinator. And so is there any other recommended pulls?
Can we pull and have a discussion on burn ban, E7?
All right, pull E7. Okay, is there any other recommended pulls? With the exception of those pulls previously mentioned, is there a motion to approve the balance of the consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion second. Any other discussion? No discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass. Okay, Wes? So first would be, First is the capital expenditure.
Okay.
Y'all had a request, everybody got the information, and so, we've been, budgeting 100,000. I think there has been times in the past where we've gone over that, multiple times, but, so this request, tell us about what you're wanting to purchase and how it impacts y'all's operation and those kind of things. And so we have Wes Allison and Mike Taywater here. Mike's the chairman of the board out there, so.
Thank you, Judge, and thank you, Commissioners, for the support you give us. As some of you may know, that this opportunity for y'all to support us is very much appreciated and has been in place since '02, where you allow us to do a capital expenditure improvement request for a couple of reasons. One, to help in our customer service and ability to better serve our customers as they come in. Secondly, to give us an opportunity to create greater economic impact by allowing us to have more horses or more events or whatever it is. And so that's exactly what this request is for, is additional stalls. And those additional stalls would allow us a couple of things to do. One, they are different than the permanent stalls, if you will, that are more difficult to move and heavier to move. So it allows us, by utilizing what's considered a temporary stall, one that's lighter in weight, honestly, to be able to adjust and move quicker from one event to the other, so that it helps us to be able to turn the venue, say, from a horse event to a cattle event. And as we continue to expand our operations, especially in the equine and livestock world, it's important to be able to do that as we move forward. And so that request that you see before you is to purchase stalls in order to go into the stall barn. So that is the building that's separate. For those know that in 2004, we, the fair, spent the money to put back up the old Red Horse Barn, right? That's the structural steel from the old Red Horse Barn. We reskinned it, and it since then has been insulated, and it has the large fans in it to help it keep cooler. So by doing those things last summer, it gives us a chance to utilize that building more. The next step in doing that is then to look at what stalls we have and use. Currently, we rent stalls about 3 times a year for 3 different events, primarily barrel racings, large ones that we do, like the World Finals for the WPRA that occurs in November. We also do that for a cutting event, because we don't have originally when we built the bill, or when the show pavilion was built and finished in '02, there was only enough stalls purchased to utilize in that building, which is about 500. So over time, we've had to rent those when we need to add events and grow bigger. And so from our standpoint, this is also a budgetary item. And so it allows us to offer more events while saving the cost of outsourcing the stalls and making us more profitable in what we're doing, and continuing to update the facility and those kind of things. So what I would say, Judge, is I've been in contact with the manufacturer of those stalls, and so we're still a little bit in negotiations. That number that you have in front of you is about $291,000. So I'm working with them currently because that did not include freight, and so I'm working to negotiate that and put a little twist and a little hard, twist their arm a little bit to get that price a little better. And so I do think that with what we're doing there and what we're trying to put in place, it would allow us to get all of that for that kind of number, somewhere around that $291,000, including freight delivered here. It's about a 4-month window of manufacturing, and so that works good for us as we move into the late summer and fall time to be able to erect those stalls. It'll help us during the rodeo especially too, because it'll allow us to put up some stalls that we need over in the stall barn after we finish the cattle show for some of our rodeo contestants. Our stock contractor needs those. And so anyway, so that's what that proposal is. What I would say today, Commissioner and Judge, is how you want to handle that, whether you want me to finalize that price and come back at the next one, or if we want to look at how that does. I'll answer any questions, or if it's too much money, then you got to tell me it's too much money. So, but it's a request that I think does help our facility and us move forward. So,
Is the 291,060, is the initial 100,000 that we budget every year, is that gonna go towards that, so there'd be a balance of 191, or
So.
what are your plans on
So
that?
I guess the request I would have is, you know, as we've looked at that $100,000, it's been in place since '02. And so the request, although we don't do these larger requests very often, obviously, we've done it a couple of times on a couple of different things, is that we would request that y'all fund the entire 291. And then, again, it's looked at every year, right, during budget time, and whether we put I think a dollar placeholder in the budget for this. So I think that's a call y'all have to make.
Just my personal opinion, I think, the 100 grand is a little low. We've been doing that since.
We talked about raising that,
Yeah.
but we didn't do
Yeah,
that.
we didn't.
So, well, go ahead, Francis.
I was gonna say,
recall we all said it was not enough.
Yes, and we just left it at that. It is in Fund 401, and so we have a pretty healthy contingencies in that fund too. So I want to say maybe we had talked about, well, if a request comes in, we can move from contingencies, but it's hard to know what to put there because we don't know what the need may be.
Right.
But definitely, would be all contained in 401, moving within that fund to increase that line.
And we had
But there
done
is
it
only
before,
100.
where it was more than the 100 and.
Well,
In 2023, I was looking at what it was. We spent 162 that year.
Should have been on the lighting project when we did that in '23.
Yeah.
maybe a dumb comment, but I know we've got to spend money to make money. I mean, that's the bottom line. If we want to attract the number one shows, the number one events, then we've got to offer the best facilities we can. And that's my opinion. And this is I use the term venue, but not in relation to the base or anything, but this is a venue that belongs to the county, and we need to make it top-notch if we're going to,
If you've ever driven by
if we're
there,
going to claim a name for it.
like I do every day, and those trailers are packed out all the way to Lake Air Drive and all the way down there's some money there.
Yes, sir, there is.
And they spend money. They make a long line in Starbucks and things like that.
Sure do.
When you guys had an ask, I look at it as an investment. And I can't recall when we didn't get a return on your ask. So,
Did you say ask?
yes.
Checking.
Ain't no return on that one.
Say that a little louder.
Am I blushing? But, no, I think it's a fair request, and I appreciate what you guys do out there.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
And of course, these are our assets, so, we purchase them. It's a capital purchase, just like the buildings are, and so they do belong to the county. Would appreciate them over their useful life, those things as well, so.
What's pleasure, court?
Make a motion to approve the request
Second?
contingent upon the freight being worked out.
Yes, sir.
Amend my second?
Okay, we have a motion. Second, any other discussion?
I'd say we're open to the freight too. Do the best you can, and if it comes in, it comes in. We'll just cry about that later.
Okay. I'll take care of it.
Yeah.
All right, no other questions. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Let's go to item L1. This is the pertaining to the Populous report, and I think is Bill on?
Bill should be on to do this update. I'll stay here just in case there's any questions
Okay.
for us as
Thank you.
well, unless you don't.
L1, okay.
Morning, Bill.
Hello. Hey, good morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners. Thanks for having us again for another court session. And we do have Derek from Hunden as well.
Morning.
Morning, everyone.
So yeah, the last update we had, we were just sharing our process and getting things kicked off. We are now through with the market research and have the recommendations. Last time we shared our, we're in the market research process and sharing, results, findings from our kickoff meeting. But Hunden has been over the last couple months going through more market research, and then
On just shortly after that, they did present their draft market demand case study report as well as recommendations to Wes and his team at the Extraco Event Center. And so we're going to share what those initial recommendations are, and Populous is starting with our planning, further programming of those items and recommendations for the site. So the kind of the main findings that we had were an additional multi-purpose arena that would have around a 1,500 seat capacity with a minimum of 125 by 300 arena floor size. That is a flexible stadium seating, so that venue could become flat floor space similar to the base in some aspects, and then an additional having 4,000 square feet of meeting space within the and then to support that, looking at, you're just talking about stalling, having 300 a facility to house additional 300 livestock equine stalls. The other, something, and that will support, as we talked about last time, making what is currently done on the site and the program, making what they do well better. And then, the next item, the conference hotel is something, is a new product, but something that was identified and part of the master plan back in 2017. That just what Hunden through their research, confirmed that, the growing hotel market in McLennan County, and certainly a need out there on the grounds as well for convenience, for the variety of shows and events that are happening out at the site. And you can see too that there's parking spaces associated with that. Looking at ground floor restaurant as part of that to enhance food service on site to, again, those attendees, staying within the venue site and spending money there. And then the other, high level, what these are things too that we're looking at more detail of programming of other continuous upgrades, renovations of, looking at the Coliseum, additional ride share areas, and looking at kind of ingress, egress along, both Bosque, Lake Air, enhanced signage and wayfinding. And then within the next, 5 years, looking at, as facilities come online and look at, as we plan, for this multi-purpose arena, stalling, looking at where, additional enhanced storage and maintenance may be, the lines den preservation, and as well as other parking, whether paved parking lots or parking structure improvements. And then just kind of next steps, again, is, Wes, his team are reviewing the report. It was about 170 pages or so, the full report. And as I mentioned, we will be developing, further more detailed planning, programming of those facilities to look at the actual size, and where they may best fit on site, and then going back with Hunden, and then our design team with Irwin Walker Partners, looking at, rough order of magnitude costs of those facilities, that then Hunden will look at that economic, fiscal, and employment impact kind of long term as we over the next few months look at that. So that's the quick update there. I turn it over if there's any questions, or Derek, if you had anything else to add.
Yeah, just
for the update.
I can just add a couple notes on the hotel recommendation. It's identified as a dual branded hotel.
So that just essentially means that you can capture two different price points and two different types of clients while saving money by kind of sharing back of house staff and other operations. So just allows for more flexibility in the type of customer that can stay on site. And then when looking at the function space that's included in the hotel, that was intentionally less than the function space that's offered at the convention center downtown. So this is not to compete or take away from what the city is doing with the convention center, but more so to support the existing events and then hopefully future expanded events at the Extraco Event Center. So just wanted to call out those two items on the hotel recommendation.
Yeah, and I might make a comment about that too, Derek, is that one of the things that we look at every day as we support larger facilities like the base, the Coliseum, and potentially this new multi-purpose arena is the need for additional meeting room space. And so if that functions to where it's a combination of a public-private investment, to be able to utilize that with a partner in the hotel, then it allows us, when we do things like junior national stock shows, like, heifer shows or something like that, then it allows us to have all of those folks on grounds and offer the meeting room space that we don't currently have for them to do speaking contests and leadership contests and different things like that. So,
Hang on.
So anyway, so I just was going to add to that for Derek, just in support of that part of it, because it's something we've talked about even in the renovations when we went through this process with Populous a number of years ago, a couple of years ago, to look at the Coliseum and it's about expanding the opportunities for meeting room and pre-function space, because that's going to be important to look at as we look at Coliseum upgrades and those kind of things. So anyway, that's a key piece of what we're doing in this project.
Can we get a copy of these slides?
That's what I was gonna ask, yeah.
I just asked for it too, because I have the big stuff. He took it down to a smaller 4 versus 160 pages, so 4's better.
Maybe it would be good for us to see the 160 pages.
I can share that with you.
Since you shared that.
And for those of us with poor vision, to see it at all.
Yeah.
So that,
That was interesting.
I think from a standpoint of what the work that both groups and what Hunden has done as well as Populous is that, and the biggest part of Populous moving forward about is how that 40-year plan of how this campus lays out is going to be extremely important. But I think what they offer in these recommendations is truly an opportunity to continue to grow the economic impact of that and continue to grow its ability to serve our community. And when I say serve our community, I'm not talking about as a community center, but I'm truly talking about really creating an entertainment district in that area that allows for somebody to come play volleyball and watch your nephew rope at the same time. If you got a niece that plays volleyball and a nephew that ropes or does something like that. And so for us, when we talk about having multi-purpose facilities and facilities that we can use multiple ways, that's important as well, because again, it goes back to just what we did with the horse stall project and capital expenditures, because it allows us then to look at a facility that says, hey, this week we're going to do a horse show in here, and next week we're going to do some kind of flat floor event, whether it be a trade show or a sporting event or a banquet or those kind of things, that it just allows us to, again, increase our business model and continue to be a viable option to organize and manage this facility, because that's very important to what we do. And I think anytime we can look at a public-private partnership, as we've seen without our community, within the city of Waco and other cities in our community, then if the county can do that and we can create a little bit of new retail space, new things like that going on over there, then I think it raises the standard over there for the whole community and the whole area there. And so we've got some facilities there within our footprint, if you will, that as we build a new school and we have the new Paul Tyson and the new city ballparks, you continue to do that, then we create that center that ultimately becomes the catalyst for growing the entire community and what it does. So,
Great.
What's the footprint of what the county actually owns there, acreage-wise?
It's about 105 acres total,
105,
and so it's, you know, usable space, depends on what we're doing on it, right? Because we still have, one of the important things for what Populous do, we'll look at parking, and the parking we need at times, and how do, you can't park a trailer in a parking garage. At least I haven't seen a parking garage that big yet. And, but yet we need to be able to do that because there are times of the year that we need additional parking, even when we're not, in fair time. Like when we have multiple events going on, we did Price is Right as well as a banquet over at the base. Price is Right in the Coliseum, a banquet over the base, and a horse show in the back. Then we use a lot of our parking lots. And we've learned over time how to manage that. And that's the good thing about our footprint, is very manageable to manage different types of traffic. I will tell you that every facility across this country, including the big one going on right now at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, does not have enough parking. None of them will have enough parking because it's very expensive just to have parking.
And let me just say that we do not want to get in their situation where the upkeep is,
Yours, mine, and ours?
yeah, who's gonna do what?
Yeah, no doubt.
And then it gets dilapidated.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
having a good focused strategy like I think that we do is vitally important.
Yeah, I would tell you that the best example of that I can think of is the Amarillo Tri-State Fairgrounds, because they do a great job of working with, their venue board is not just the commissioners, it includes some, because it's a city and county combined deal. And so they did a great job of creating buckets, if you will, for funding things and those kind of things that included maintenance and continued updates and that kind of product. Now, they've been built for 20 years now. And so, as you know, by looking at the information that has been shared by Francis and others about how our venue tax is growing, and we talk about 40-year decisions and those kind of things and opportunities, is that as we move forward, those things are important that we figure out what bucket things need to fit in and where we need to go, because ultimately those are the things that are going to keep from happening what's currently happening at the NRG facility, and everybody's saying, well, it's not my job to maintain it, when ultimately it's somebody's job to maintain it. And so, yeah, we want to make sure we do that right and be a good partner and make sure that we have worked with y'all to ensure our continued success. And, you know, for Scott's probably the only one in this room that knows this, that there was a time that somebody pitched the keys to the county judge for this facility, and I
Heard that story.
Yeah.
I can assure you, I don't think that'll ever happen again, because of the things that you've done as the court leadership to make sure that we have a facility that will be in place and be successful. And certainly the board of directors and what they've done and those visions that they have to be successful in what we do as a business. And so,
And looking at those numbers the other day that were there for the announcement, the volunteers
absolutely.
that make it up
600.
are what drives that place.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. It is.
Great partnership.
Yes, sir.
It really is.
One clarification, I was not the county judge.
I know, yeah, I didn't say, I'm sorry if I did.
Could have been.
I was not on the receiving
It
end.
was on the pitching end, not the catching end, so.
You know, you mentioned, and it's true, with all the sporting venues that are right there, and with what we have, in my mind, a retail store on one end sells sporting goods, another end sells Western wear.
Okay, that works, yeah.
Right there, we got it covered.
There's your business, Mr.
You know,
Smith. when
I think you could sell him a spot.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, yeah. You'd be right next to a pizza guy. I know a pizza guy that if y'all build the building, he'd move over there immediately.
That'd work too.
I think that we owe Wes a thank you.
I
guess
that.
So,
But yeah, you're exactly right. So, anything else on this subject? Okay, and is there a motion to approve this report for recording purposes?
So moved.
second.
All right, have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass. Good opportunity for us to say thank you, Wes, for all the great relationships that we've had, and we want to keep in touch with you. And I'm going to be looking at your voting record when you move to Denver.
Like red, just so you know.
Yeah, and but anyhow, and we'll have more on this later. But
Yeah.
yeah, really appreciate it.
You make it
always
easy.
been open.
So,
And
yeah.
And Mike, appreciate all your input today.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been, I get paid by the word, so this has been a disappointing thing this morning. But
Mike, thank you for what you do,
Yeah,
seriously.
Mike's done a great job in leadership out there, and really have motivated the volunteers and staff, and great group out there. We look forward to y'all coming back and introducing Dustin, although we know him, but bring Dustin back before you leave, Wes.
Yes, sir. Yeah, absolutely.
Because I think that would be a great introduction.
Yeah, we'll have those one-on-ones with each of you as well. I want to go sit down with you all and make sure I twist your arms the right way so you support Dustin moving forward. And so he is doing what is part of our life and part of our mission, and that he is with his kids today showing it at Rodeo Austin. And
Yeah.
so, that's where he should be, because he represents the fair and represents McLennan County there as well every time he walks into the place like that.
Accolades to Wes, Mike, the other board of directors for having the foresight, though, to know that one day this might come.
Yeah.
And to have that person in place who could step in and be ready to go. We thank you for that.
And that's exactly right. And Mike and I had been talking through this whole process. Kind of much as I keep my nose out of it, I did. But I appreciate you communicating with me. But the fact that Mike brought up that 5 years ago the succession plan discussion was happening. At that time, Dustin was identified. And my question to Mike was, in this last 5 years, how has he performed? And he said, excellent, and all that. And I said, there's your man. And so, and I've worked with Dustin a lot. You'll really like him. He can present it. Maybe there's not many can present as good as Wes, but he's right in there. So I think the future's still bright, so.
Judge, if at all possible, maybe we can do a workshop session and just roast Wes. Before he
that
goes.
sounds I'm all
I
about
do
that.
have some information that would be useful.
No, you don't know the information. It wouldn't take long to fill up an hour. We could get some folks to
Yeah.
pitch in.
Okay.
Thank y'all.
Well, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Commissioner.
you, guys.
Take care, buddy.
Appreciate y'all.
seeing you. Wes, thank you.
All right, Dustin, take us to the next item, please.
Yes, sir. If we could go to item G3, this is regarding the agreement for services with Heart of Texas Behavioral Health Network, authorization of mutual amendment. This is on the caseworker services at the jail. It also goes along with item G7. I'm going to read both of those in. G7 is authorization of amendment to health services agreement with Turnkey Health Clinics, TK Health, for mental health services for McLennan County jails and detention centers. I'd like to call on Mike to present both these items. Mike, are you there? And Mike, you are on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Good morning.
Okay. Good morning. The healthcare provider for the jail and detention centers, TK Health, has moved to a new model where it provides all mental health services in addition to medical services because of the interconnection between healthcare and mental health care and the need for real-time communication amongst providers and the continuity of care. A portion of the mental health services at the jail and detention centers is currently being provided by the Heart of Texas Behavioral Health Network. To meet TK Health's requirement to provide unified health care at the facilities, the Behavioral Health Network has graciously agreed to amend its services agreement with the county to remove these mental health caseworker services at the jail and detention facilities from their agreement. The annual cost for TK Health to provide these additional mental health services is $677,090. The cost of the services currently being provided by BHN is $412,448. I think it's important to stress at this point that this change is not a reflection on BHN. but both the healthcare provider and the county believe that the change is necessary to provide the most comprehensive care at the facilities and to provide the best continuity of care by having all the care under one provider. So the staff recommendation is to approve the amendment of the services agreement with BHN and to approve the amendment of the agreement with TK Health.
All right, any questions? All right, what's the pleasure, court?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
And that was on both items, correct?
That was the intention of my second.
And the intention of the first, G3 and G7.
Right. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass. Okay, Dustin.
All right. Judge, did you want to move back up to the consent agenda for those items?
Yes, sir.
All right, we can go to item E3, Human Resources. E3A is McLennan County Community Supervision and Corrections Department, Adult Probation. I'd like to call on Anna.
Everyone.
Morning.
I have your request to rehire a community supervision officer. The name of the rehire is Patricia Zapata, and they would like to hire her effective March 24th of this year. Per county policy, former employees that withdraw from their retirement account, their TCDRS account, they can't return to work for the county until a minimum of 90 days has passed from the official date of separation. This person left on February 6th. They can return as a rehire as long as 30 days has passed with Commissioner's Court approval, which is why it's being brought forward today. The position was posted, accepted applications for the required 5 days, and the applicant, of course, meets those minimum requirements because they were once in that position. So again, it's request to rehire Patricia Zapata into the Community Supervision Officer position, position 17, effective March 24th.
Any questions?
So they meet the TCDRS requirement, but they don't meet the county policy requirement.
Yes, so the TCDRS minimum requirement is 30 days, but the county has a 90-day rule established. Anything between that 30 and 90-day requires the Commissioner's Court approval.
And so they've been retired a little over a month.
They didn't retire. They resigned. They didn't withdraw their retirement, which means they're not getting that monthly retirement payment. They just withdrew in a lump sum amount, which means they would have lost the county contribution to that, and they just took their own money with them. They would establish a new account as a rehire starting from zero.
So they took their portion and the county portion when they retired?
Just
Or did not?
Just their portion.
They just took their portion,
That's correct.
and that's acceptable to do that?
So it's allowed, again, as long as they meet that 30-day minimum requirement for rehire. And then we also have both the rehired employee and the officials or supervisors hiring them back complete affidavits and have those affidavits notarized, establishing that there wasn't a pre-planned agreement to do so. And both of those affidavits have been done and are a part of the agenda
Well,
item.
not necessarily this case, but let's assume that somebody retires and starts drawing retirement and then wants to come back to work after that. Do they join the retirement system again and eligible for the county portion again, or because they're drawing both already? What happens there? Has that ever happened?
Yes, that has happened. So if somebody actually retired and they received their monthly annuity, um, and they met the TCDRS and county policy requirements in being rehired, they continue getting their retirement payment and then they establish a new account is established for them. But in order to draw from that account, they would again have to meet the requirements of retirement.
So they'd have to be vested.
Right, they would have to meet the requirements again for retirement under that new account.
Okay. Okay. All right, thank you.
Other
You're
questions?
welcome.
Any other questions? What's the pleasure of the court?
Make a motion to approve the request.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
E3B is Emergency Management Coordinator. Anna?
Yes, we received notification. It looks like the city is attempting to adjust the salary of the emergency management coordinator, Ryan Durker. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I had my notes with me. I do. Okay. So the current salary, base salary is $106,090. And the city would like to adjust that salary to $125,000. The county pays half of that portion. If the county were to approve, the share would increase to $62,500.
Man, we had a good trip. Well, I mean, we had several. We went from, man, we started off, went to Tyler.
Hold on, somebody's talking on here.
You might have ruined it, Jim. I think we were fixing
I
to
wanna
find
hear
all
it.
about the vacation
Tyler. I'd like to
plans.
know
I
who
was
was Tyler.
fixing to get my travel agent on the phone and get him.
Okay.
The city
Proceed.
would like to make the pay adjustment effective on March 23rd.
All right.
Out of
So this is being
curiosity,
brought to court for approval.
out of curiosity, how long has it been at 106,000? Does anybody know?
Well, we adjusted on COLA, I think, didn't we?
But a actual raise.
Does that work with our COLA and their COLA and
The
all
city,
that?
the city whatever the city does, that's.
I got you.
Salary's been set, and we just, get their budget, their estimated budget, and then agree to pay half of it.
We actually give better colas, but I'm sorry about that. No, I was just asking because I'm just curious how long it's been at that level. I do support the increase though.
Yeah. And, I guess I probably work with Ryan more than anybody on the court. And Dustin and I have been very pleased with response times and things and issues, and it may be 4 o'clock in the morning, but that's okay because it's important. And so, from a performance standpoint, and I don't think we do a performance review, but for his benefit, we should have some input in that. And, but I support this as well. How does it fit within the budget side of it, Anna or Francis? It's gonna be an increase of our half would be, what, 10?
I'm gonna pose that question to Francis to see if that March 23rd timeline, if we would be able to match that or not, considering budget requirements.
And so looking at, just eyeballing it, rough increase
Yeah.
of 20,000, our half would be 10, but we're already 6 months into the year.
Yeah.
So it'd be 5,000. That budget, when we set that budget, it's a lump sum. They bill us monthly for actual expenditures for that department, both personnel and operating. And so sometimes it's hard to tell. Sometimes we may be a little under budget because, we're just basing our budget on their budget. Sometimes they do have needs that come up during the year. It is emergency management. And so we'll have to amend that budget along the way if that occurs. But I really feel at this time, it's something that we can absorb into that line already. And we'll just have to see how that plays out as we get closer to year end.
Okay.
But if anything, it would be roughly $5,000 plus benefits and taxes.
Yeah. Questions?
I certainly support it. My question is it legal once a budget's set to increase salaries?
That was kind of my question too, is how do
How does that work?
we normally change salaries in
I'm talking about the legal part of it from the state law.
But
I mean, you have the right to, as long as it goes through, of course, the formal process. And, you know, we do that from time to time.
Okay, okay.
And I know Matt could speak on that a little more, but yes, you do have the right to
Legally to do it.
legally
Okay.
do that. And it is considered a
Except
budget
for,
amendment because the
except for
salaries.
elected officials.
Except for, okay, that's what it is then, Mike. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
those
Thank
have
you,
to
Mike.
be, those you have to go through the very formal process of posting the
Okay.
increase and
Okay.
having the grievance hearing process. But for these, it's considered a budget amendment because the salary is part of the budget, so
Okay.
and that occurs.
Body fine. Thank you. Motion to approve, Judge.
All right, I have a motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on to item E7, burn ban approval, extension, or termination.
Okay, we, have been in a red flag warning sign, and, so,
We get Ryan up here.
Ryan, if you'd go ahead and come up here.
He just got an increase. He needs to come up here and earn it.
Get to work. Yeah.
Golly, that isn't comfortable sitting back there doing that. Judge Felton, Commissioners, good morning. Before I get into that, if you might
Yeah.
grab me a moment of personal privilege for a moment.
Sure.
Thank you for this court and this staff's belief in me. When I was informed of that, I nearly crashed my car, but at the same time, I look back on how kind of things were when I got here, and I think more than anything else, I just needed a group of people to believe in me. It's made me a better man, it's made me a better husband, and certainly made me better at my job. And so I just want to communicate to this court and to this staff how appreciative I am and how grateful I am for how good all of you have been to me. Now,
Thank you.
that being said, on to the matter of the day. Kind of a difficult situation to make heads or tails of. Generally speaking, when we recommend burn bans, there's a couple of very strict guidelines that we look at. The Keach-Byram Drought Index being the largest one, which is a score of 0 to 800, basically of how dry everything is around the county. That's kept by the Forest Service, along with talking with our partners in both the Waco Fire Department and the various VFDs around the county. A couple of other things. We've been out in the county looking at conditions, keep putting our eyes on things, and also talking to the Weather Service. So the red flag burn ban that this court put in, I believe was the right tool at the time, may still be the right tool, and at the end of the day, that is up to this court's discretion. The way that worked is that anytime that the Weather Service put in a red flag warning, it essentially put in a burn bag in this county. Now, our staff have learned that, we on our side need to do a little bit better job of educating the public of what exactly that means, and we're certainly willing to do that. We're developing plans on how to do that right now moving forward. So here's the situation as we see it right now. The KBDI is, as of this morning, it has not reset. It's only about 362. Generally speaking, we look to be about 450 as our line for we have a problem. The fire weather that has been in the news and continues to be in the news is mainly driven by the winds. Those winds, speaking with the Weather Service yesterday, have already been at their worst. We will have maybe 2 more days. I believe yesterday was a bad day, and Thursday, I think they're looking to be another particularly dangerous day. The preponderance of the evidence, as far as we are concerned, emergency management is not necessarily recommending a full burn ban be put into this place, but nor are we opposed to one. Still awfully green out in the county, and I think there's a level of personal responsibility that we do want the public to engage in before we throw the hammer down and tell them they can't burn. Is it completely safe? No, it is not. But at the same time, overall, had the winds not been around, I don't think we'd be nearly as concerned about the fire weather conditions as we are.
Yeah, I agree with the education piece. I monitor some of the websites and the questions and comments that come in there, and the authorities, the self-appointed authorities out there that are posting very seldom have it right. And so I think the court would support effort education through our website, but anything else we can do, maybe even like press release, so we can get in maybe some interviews, those kind of things.
The media and things like this, because I know I got tons of calls, and I'm sure you did too.
I did, yeah.
It's,
I really, if the numbers don't show it, and we still have the tool of the red flag warning. And so I wouldn't support a burn ban when the numbers are this low, as long as we have the tool, the red flag warning tool. Now, if they get closer and, the prediction is gonna be winds are bad for a long time, then we'd have to rethink it. But my thought is try to stay consistent as much as you can. And, there's been times where we pulled burn bans off or we put burn bans on that the numbers weren't there, but we had full discussion on it and those things. The other input that I appreciate getting, and those people that are on the front line out there dealing with fires and, the volunteer fire departments and all those and the law enforcement. And so when we start hearing issues out there that they're really worried, then I've got to listen to that. I think court would want to listen to those folks. And, so each of y'all as commissioners generally know the volunteer fire departments in your area, and so they've got you to contact. And if y'all hear something, let's bring it. We can talk about it. I think as long as the court's okay with me having the authority to move that button, then you can call me. We can move the button before we have a commissioners court meeting. Because you have to schedule that and time may be of essence. Yes,
That was going to be my question to maybe Dustin or Ryan to refresh our memory on who can actually institute a burn ban and who can take it off. Does that have to be a decision of the court, or can the county judge issue it and then we have to ratify it within a certain time, or what does the law say on that?
that's a Dustin question.
He used the term law, that's Dustin.
Yeah.
Well, I think the way I need to refresh myself, but I think the court can put the burn ban in place and then give judge the authority to lift. Anything different, judge could maybe use a disaster declaration or something other to put some type of ban in place. But I need to refresh myself on that because I think it has changed throughout the years. And I don't know if Mike still happens to be on, if he knows exactly.
That does sound pretty close to correct.
But I think if that disaster is declared by the judge, then the court has to ratify it within a certain number of days.
Within 7 days, that's correct, Commissioner.
Yeah.
well, the red flag, because I go by my fire departments, we put the red flag out. Well, they've got burn ban in effect signs out. So that's what's confusing everybody.
Yeah,
you know.
I saw that in the
Yeah,
other day,
yeah.
that burn ban.
Yeah,
And
so,
in the future, if we decide that that has been the incorrect tool, then we can certainly address that moving forward. But
Yeah.
at this stage, if we wanted to change directions, that's certainly within this court's purview to do.
what do other counties do in that situation? Because it is confusing. It's confusing to
Well,
everybody.
I think
'Cause
Bell
people don't-
County's had a burn ban in for quite a while, haven't they?
People don't want to break the law, and, if we need to use something different than a red flag warning,
But I think it comes from national, that's national weather.
burning is no.
Isn't that national weather,
sure.
Ryan? Didn't the red flag warning come from National Weather Service or Forestry Service?
Yes, sir. The National Weather Service.
The National
issues-
Weather Service issues red flag warning.
Yes, sir. And currently Bell County and Hill County are in burn bans. Those are the only two contiguous counties to us that are in burn
And the
bans.
burn ban, not just the red flag, but the full burn ban, or is it initiated by the red flag one?
The Forest Service website doesn't delineate. I don't know.
Okay.
I guess the reason, today we do have high winds.
sure.
True.
I'm seeing 25 with 43-mile-an-hour gusts. What's the break point for the National Weather Service on a red flag warning and not putting one?
I don't know their qualification or their criteria off the top of my head, but I can certainly find that information for you.
I'm just curious, because it's,
Yeah.
I think.
The Forest Service puts out a fire weather, like a
Advisory type deal.
forecast.
Fire danger forecast. Yes, sir.
Fire weather forecast. And, we're like, as eastern side of the county is blue and the western side of the county is yellow. So it's kind of
Which is a common occurrence
common
because of the
occurrence,
terrain.
right,
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
Exactly.
That makes it green, blue and yellow together.
So,
Percentile, case, class, I guess, I don't know. But is it the fire service, is the Forest Service, I guess, is what I'm looking at here. I don't know. I'm looking at the, but I just wanted to bring that up. I wanted clarification about what the red flag meant and what
Yeah.
the, things like that.
And, Dustin, I've done emergency declaration before, but I'm not sure on burn ban, but, that is a tool.
Yes.
So according to the Forest Service, the way I interpret these models is that on the 19th, so tomorrow, we will be in extreme fire weather danger. But then again, because of whatever that model looks like, the very next day it goes back down to moderate.
Yeah.
So
So you're talking about 1 day.
essentially, yes, sir.
As far as enforcement goes, if you're burning on a red flag day and you start a grass fire, I mean, is that gonna be enforceable because it's a red flag day or because we don't have a
No,
burn
because
ban?
a red flag makes it a burn ban.
Okay,
Yeah. So
okay.
if someone's burning, whether it burns anybody else or not, it gets into a simple matter.
What's the fine for burning on?
Class C, man?
$250 minimum probably, unless it
Yeah.
gets into structures and everything else.
But if they burn somebody else's property, then it's a
Yeah.
civil matter and
Yes.
they get sued for a lot of money.
Well,
Yeah,
So
needs to be some sort of
yeah,
penalty.
deter, yeah.
So,
reality is we don't have to take any action today if we decide we don't want a burn ban. Is that correct? No action. You don't have to-
So
our
we have
numbers
a
are,
burn
I
ban.
guess the numbers changed this morning. Is that correct? Numbers come out on Tuesday. I have an 18th number that's a little bit better
Commissioner, which number do you
on the
refer to?
KBDI.
Daily.
At the 18th?
They do update daily. Sometimes
Daily,
it's later
okay.
in the morning than
Uh-huh.
others. I'm not sure if
Yeah.
it's updated today, but those are daily updated.
So Commissioner, if we wanted to burn ban regardless of red flag, then that would be an action that would be on the table to take. But if we don't do anything and there's a red flag warning, there is a burn ban.
There is a burn ban for that.
I don't think we
for that
need
day.
to really do anything for that day or days if they predicted.
That's a red flag warning's in effect, correct? Correct. Okay.
Okay, anything else? Nope. All right. Dustin, we need any action on that?
No, sir, if we're not gonna if we're not gonna do it, we don't need to show any action, but while we have Ryan, we also have a discussion on M3. It's a discussion and or action regarding order authorizing San Jacinto Day fireworks sales.
Oh, yeah.
And this is one where if the court decides to permit the sale of fireworks during this period, the order must be adopted before April 1st, which we don't meet again until April 1st. If the court does not wish to permit the sale of fireworks during this period, then no action is required.
Okay. Any questions on that?
What's the crystal ball say?
So this is another tough one. If San Jacinto Day was this weekend, I'd say absolutely not. There's fireworks would be an awful idea. But being is that it's in the middle to later parts of April, I have no numbers. There's no good model that shows out that far away. What I will say is historically, mid to late April is a low fire concern. It's usually pretty wet, middle of spring, but there is no crystal ball that far.
But if we're if we declare a burn ban, then they can't sell them,
Correct.
correct?
That's correct.
Yes, sir.
And if it's a red flag warning, you can't ignite them, you can't.
If that red flag were still to be in place.
Yeah,
by
if it
that
were in
date.
place, that's what, yeah.
How long?
No good chance of rain in the next 10 days.
That's true.
What do we,
Another thought. I mean, and that's about your best window you're gonna have is 10 days.
Yes, sir.
how soon can they start selling fireworks?
I don't know.
It's just a small period for
It's a
this.
small window,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
For that, it is.
It's not like a week or anything like that, where they can sell
Know
them.
that, Ryan? What the
It looks like it would start April 16th and end on April 21st.
It's almost a
5
month
days.
from now.
5 days.
It's a month.
So it's a week, they get to sell a week
5
or
days.
so. 5 days.
I'm not even aware of that many of them that open for that, to be honest with you.
People will spend their money on fireworks.
Okay,
So if we don't do anything, they cannot sell. We have to actually adopt an order allowing the sale.
That's correct.
The question here is, can they sell, but they can't be used because of the burn ban?
Yes.
if there's a burn ban,
It
they,
could happen like
They
that.
can't, so.
I don't even think.
New Year's Day, 4th of July, I mean, it could happen on any of those events.
You know, so I would lean towards not outlawing the sale of them,
Sure.
because if we've
I
got a
agree.
burn ban, you
I
can
agree
sell
with you.
all you want, you just can't use
Yeah.
it.
Could save them from 4th
I
of
think there's
July.
enough protection there.
Yes.
So then you would support a resolution allowing the sale?
Allowing the sale.
I second that.
That's a motion.
That's a motion.
That's a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass. Thank you, Ryan.
Thank y'all. Thank you, Ryan.
All right, Dustin?
If it's okay to skip around one more time, we have Jared on, and we have item M5. It's a discussion and or action regarding review of county election precinct boundaries. I'd like to call on Jared.
Good morning, everyone. So the Texas Election Code requires us to review our election precincts every 2 years, every odd numbered year, to make sure that they are in compliance with the number of registered voters that are in each of these election precincts. So the election precincts cannot exceed 5,000 registered voters. So what I've done is I've looked through all of our election precincts, and I found 6 that I think need to be reviewed. One of those is just barely over 5,000, and then the other 5 are approaching that 5,000 mark. What we need to do is the court would need to approve these recommendations. What we'll do next is we will turn this over to Mike Morrison, who has helped us out with redrawing our boundaries in the past. And I've already spoken with him, and he says he's on board to help us out with this. I'll give him those recommendations. Over the summer, he will try to find the best way to redraw these lines to reduce the number of voters in each of these election precincts. And then at the end of the year, after all of the elections have occurred for 2025, we will update our voter registration database so that these changes will take place before the 2026 primary election. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, we'll move forward with, trying to approve these changes.
All right, any questions or comments?
You're going to add a new precinct.
Possibly. So mostly what I want to do is I want to try to redraw the lines to avoid adding precincts. If we have to add several precincts, we'll have to add more voting sites.
Yes.
One of my recommendations is to split one of the precincts and create a new one. That will not affect the calculation to where we have to add another voting precinct, or excuse me, another vote center on election day.
Okay. Does just any of this, other than Mr. Morrison being involved, is there cost involved in any of this, Jared?
It would just be, whatever Mike charges us.
Okay,
So.
okay. All right, thank you.
All right, any other questions or comments? What's the pleasure of the court?
Make a motion to approve the request.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey, is there could we move to Z1, 5-minute break?
Yeah, well, that's what we're fixing to do.
Oh, okay.
All right, let's take a quick break, and quicker the better. We've got lots to cover, and some of us have the meeting. Okay,
Just real quick.
5-minute break.
Recording stopped.
All right, Dustin, what's next on the agenda?
Yes, sir. We'll move back to the top then and go to item F, bids, RFPs, RFQs. F1 is authorization of quote from Total Office Solutions for information technology furniture. I'd like to call on John Carter.
John Carter.
Morning.
Morning.
So as you know, we moved into 1211 Washington, and we're now starting to get quotes for office furniture. As you can see, the quote was quite high to cubicles and such. The total quote for the cubicle furniture Sorry. Oh, the one I didn't bring with me, but you all have that in front of you. So what we're asking for, what the request is for the cubicle furniture and a few office furniture. Now, we brought most of our furniture from 500 Columbus, but being as it's a different space, and we did break one item, unfortunately, off the truck. But we just need a few office items, and then that's the furniture you see on the one quote, and then the cubicle furniture is on that separate quote. Thank you. Oh, yeah, there it is, $82,426.66 for the cubicle furniture. That's for 15 cubicles, and it would be for our support team and our applications team. There are already 4 cubicles existing, and we'd have to cannibalize one of those to finish out one of the other 3 cubicles. So we would require 15 cubicles as one option, and then if that ends up being too much, we do have other options in the hopper to do it a different way, with some with existing furniture and some with maintenance of buildings, help doing some building in there. But one thing I did want to point out on the quote, on the office furniture quote, where you see there's some for the first floor reception and the conference room. Those places are still inhabited right now by hot checks, so we wouldn't need that furniture right away. We could wait and we could budget for that in FY26. And then we would just need, currently our immediate need is the office furniture that you see below that, which is a total of $8,214.12. So today, the request is for that $8,214.12 for the other office furniture, and then we will budget for the other stuff in FY26. And then, of course, for the cubicle furniture, the 80, keep losing that quote. $82,426.55. With that, I'd take questions about it.
I mean, that seems high for cubicles. I don't know. I don't buy them a lot, but how many other bids did you receive? Or just that, is that the lowest?
Just the one. They always send us to Total Office Solutions, but those are very, as I understand it, very common quotes for cubicle furniture. And as I said, I've worked with TJ in maintenance of buildings, and TJ, you may be able to address this, but we do have an option to avoid the cubicle furniture and just do a little bit of construction in-house. We don't have quotes on that yet, but we know it'll be far lower than the 82,000.
Ken, do you have any input on that?
Well, Total Office, they're on a cooperative agreement, so anything that we get is, it's been vetted.
Right. So, I mean, it's probably in the ballpark then, I guess what you're saying, Ken?
Yes,
Yeah.
right. There might be, All Steel is a very good brand, I'll say that, but it holds up. So there might be some cubicle walls that may be cheaper, but again, All Steel is a good, reputable system.
How long, as far as that, how long does that last? That lasts a long time for us, or?
Oh, yeah. But I'll share, we had some at Plantation Foods, and
let me see,
Just had a birthday.
yeah, 30 years ago. I'm sure it's still there.
All right, any other?
So what you're asking for today is $8,214 to get you going.
For the other office furniture and then the cubicle furniture
So the 82,400.
But the total is
and the 82,000.
92,000.
Well, my motion today would be to approve the 8214, and let's see where we go with the other. Does that make sense?
So you're,
Any other thoughts?
And try to budget some of that during regular budget time.
What was your offer on that? You said we could do one now and do one at budget?
Yes,
Was
so
that
the
the same? Is that
8214
what
would be
he's-
the immediate need, yes, correct. And then the other furniture could be put in the FY '26 budget. Because currently, we are all crammed into the second floor of that building at the moment. So we haven't moved downstairs yet, because that will require some construction beyond what we're talking about
Right.
with the furniture. There's
And they
still some
could,
work
and there
to
might
do.
be some construction that would mitigate that need for all of those cubicles, you're saying, some construction.
downstairs, yeah.
Okay, so that gives us time for TJ to look at that also, yeah.
Yes. TJ, did you want to make any comment on that?
Yeah, I mean, we've taken a look at.
Can't hear you, TJ.
How about now? there we go.
Is that
Gotcha.
better?
Yes.
Good, good. Yeah, we've definitely gone in and taken a look at it. We can create some separation of space with some pony walls throughout the facility to kind of help out with this thing. And then come back and look at the needs for beginning of next year. So there's some definitely cheaper solutions to go to.
Well, I know, we asked you to move, right? So it's not like,
Yeah.
we're not put you out there on an island without what you need to do, so.
I certainly don't disagree with that. We did approve the move, but we also were under the impression, or I was, that it wasn't going to be quite as expensive. That came from the question, what's it going to cost to make the move? It was considerably less. So I'd like to see us explore those options, and as a possibility of mitigating some of that cost, but they've got some immediate needs that we need to take care of.
So do you have a motion you get you out?
My request or my motion would be to approve the request for the $8,214 today, and then explore those other possibilities before moving forward with any of the rest of the purchases.
You said 8,214?
I think that's what John said.
Yes, that's for the current office furniture we need at the moment. Move downstairs into three
We need to have
offices.
somewhere to sit down.
But you're saying all the cubicles, do you need them now or can they wait?
Well, we're going to put those off. I think the motion is to put them off and talk to maintenance about what we can do in construction-wise to make that.
But
Adjust.
that's why I'm asking right now. We put you in this spot, all right? And I'm respect Commissioner Smith's opinion on that, but if it's gonna affect your workflow,
No, we can make that work. We have some furniture. I mean, currently, again, we're in the second floor right now in our current temporary situation, and we're able to function. I don't want to go long-term, but we can do that for,
And so, so if this is approved, then there might be an action item coming later when they know exactly where the walls are gonna go, if it really needs that much furniture. Come back, we'll be fairly close to the budgeting time, unfortunately, time's moving on.
I'm just trying to be mindful of the fact that we don't know what the cost of some of these materials are gonna be
Yeah.
at that point in time.
Yeah.
So that's a concern I think we need to have in the back of our mind.
Yeah.
PJ, what are you thinking on them partial walls with the labor and the cost, material and all that? Is that, can you get a kind of rough guesstimation?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how far we get into it, but I mean, 2, 6, 8, 10, 12 grand, 14 at the most.
And I'm thinking more in line with the furniture having an increase in pricing.
Yeah, and then
That's
how long
bigger.
does it take for the furniture to get here, Ken? Do you know that, or how long would it take?
They were quoting 8 weeks or
Yeah,
so.
8 weeks?
8 to 10 weeks, yeah.
So there's a motion out there. Is there, if there's not a second, I'm gonna pull the motion.
I'll make a second.
Okay. Motion made, second. All right, now, any other discussion?
I do want to comment, if we see the price of this furniture starting to escalate, we're rolling the dice.
So-
But with the tariffs and these things that possibly
Yeah.
could still be in play, we could be looking at a much larger price.
So,
If you look at it, there's already a tariff charge on this quote, I noticed.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, they slapped that on there the first day.
It's already in place.
So,
So it may already be covered, but, you know, we meet every 2 weeks, so if there's a.
that's the only thing I'm
something
saying,
you
is let's keep an
discover
eye on it, and
that says we need to move quicker, then we'll put it on the agenda and the court can discuss that. So, right now, there's a motion and second on the floor. Is there any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote?
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson,
Yes.
Judge Felton,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Perry.
yes.
Okay. All right, thank you. Dustin?
All right, and then John, if you want to stay, F2 is yours too. It's authorization of ManageEngine product renewal quote with Zoho Corporation for platform to monitor and optimize server network and end user equipment for information technology.
So what this is our renewal, but we are changing one of the items on there. We're moving, we're changing our endpoint version to a more high security endpoint version. The increase is $5,761.56. The total renewal cost there is $79,591.11. This is included in the FY25 budget.
All right, any questions?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, pass. Thank you.
Judge, before John gets away, in our request, doesn't he need a copy or something over, doesn't IT need, isn't there something on there about one of the agenda items also
Yes, sir.
for John, for
There's an
IT?
item on that.
Yeah, if you want to address that,
Well, I
that's
just,
on,
while John, we're trying to do it while he's sitting here and not make him bounce back and forth like a rubber ball.
Get my
it's
exercise.
item G6.
G6, all right?
So again, this is a order for a copier for IT. It's for a image runner, DXC359IF. The purchase price is $3,578.89. We also include the service agreement, maintenance agreement. It's in the amount of $456. That's for a base amount of 24,000 black and white copies annually. And for color copies, that's 1,200 copies annually. Overage rate for black and white is 0.0134 cents, and for color, it's 0.08272 annually.
And it's in line with all the other typical copy requests and all that.
Yes, sir. And it's on a co-op, it's under DIR.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion second, any other discussion? No other
Hey,
discussion?
I have a question for Ken. On service agreements, and they quote numbers of copies,
Yes.
does that also include if there's a problem with the copy, they come out and repair it?
Yes.
That's part of that service agreement?
It is.
Okay, good, okay. Thank you. Thank you, Judge.
All right, you bet. Any other discussion? Not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass.
All right, F3 is authorization of recommendation for RFP 25-007, McLennan County Hazard Mitigation Plan Update. Ken?
A little background, I worked with our emergency managed department, specifically Tim Geske, on helping me put together the RFP for this
this solicitation. I also want to point out that I sent out directly to about 6 companies that I read do this sort of work. We only got one response from H2O Partners. And as I understand it, and I didn't go back and check the history, they helped write the original plans for a hazard mitigation plan. But this was for the update. So we got the sole response from H2O Partners, and we recommend that the contract be awarded to them. We went ahead and evaluated the proposal, and the team that consisted of me, Tim Kubos, Tim Geske, and Dustin Chapman, we had an average score of 97 points. In our review of the solicitation, it was realized that we had not included 2 jurisdictions that needed to be in the original solicitation. That was Bruce Folletti and Moody. In their proposal, they had a line item that said any additional jurisdictions would be $4,500 each to add. But under the request for a best and final, and through some negotiations, we negotiated just an increase of $1,000 from the original proposed amount. So the total amount for the contract should be $99,670. It's within our grant amount. It's also within cost estimates that were required by the requirements of the grant that we received on this. And I should mention that the grant is a LHMPP grant, Local Hazard Mitigation Plans Program, under the GLO, the General Land Office. But going ahead and selecting H2O Partners is our recommendation.
Any questions? What's the pleasure of the board?
Move to approve the recommendation.
Second. All right, motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
F4 is authorization of estimate from Western Enterprises for Road and Bridge Precinct 2 building. This also goes along with agenda item I2E. TJ?
We can't hear you, TJ.
How about now?
Okay.
Strangest thing. Okay. So the court may recall we approved the additional building out at Road and Bridge 2 for the equipment awning. After doing the traditional layout on the building, we found it best to widen it with a little bit of depth so they could get a good turning radius inside the facility with their equipment. So we're asking the court to go back and add an additional 25 feet onto that structure because when we had to shrink it down, we lost 50 additional feet. So Western Enterprises has come in and given us the best value quote doing that additional 25 feet.
Is that the same company that's doing the rest of it?
Yes, yes, sir.
Same company, it's
Okay.
just not underneath the TIPS umbrella.
Yeah, the only thing we had is, for some reason, I was told it was gonna be a 50-foot wide building, and when they got out there and they started staking it out, it was only 40 foot. Well, it wasn't wide enough for us. So, TJ was nice enough, and we met with everybody, and that's $10,669 per foot it's way low as far as building a metal building. I mean, it's a good price.
All right. Any questions or comments?
Can we approve both those at the same time, Judge? The I2E and
Name 'em.
F, sir?
Yeah, if you list them in the motion.
Okay.
Yeah, what is the second one? I'm sorry.
I2E,
It's the budget amendment.
wasn't it I2E?
Yeah.
Yeah. Pay for it.
Yeah, motion to approve F4 and I2E.
All right.
Second that.
All right, I have a motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Pass. Thank you.
All right, moving down to item G2 regarding the agreement with Populous, authorization of professional service invoice. This is for the architectural services, future development, financial analysis for the fair. This invoice totals $102,074.64, and it is for their services from October 1st, 24 through February 28, 25. It has been reviewed and it is recommended for approval.
All right, any questions? I'll make a motion we approve.
Second.
All right, have a motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass.
All right, moving down to item G4, authorization of Lexis plus subscription amendments with LexisNexis. G4A is regarding the 474th District Court, and G4B is regarding the 19th District Court. Prices for those are in your packet. It's just an amendment including adding additional subscription materials. And it's recommended for approval.
All right, any questions?
Are those based on per user? Is the reason they're different price for two different courts? One of them has more users than the other? Is that how that works?
Yeah, it likely is, Commissioner. I can look at it really quickly.
It's not, it's not a lot of money. I was just curious why they're getting the same service, both of them, both courts are getting the same service. One of them is more a month than the other. And the only thing I could assume is that it's based on, they license, individual users in the court. Like one court.
Both do, I'm sorry, both do show the same number of users. I'm trying to see what the difference would be.
It's a TARF. The next year's got a TARF next to it.
Yeah, yeah.
Probably volume based
Yeah.
would be my
Well,
guess.
Is it volume?
It's the same volume, he said,
Well,
Same users.
okay.
But the 19th might run a lot more through than the 474th is, I guess what I'm
Yeah, okay.
maybe suggesting could be, but
Could be.
I was just curious why that would be different if it was the same product.
It looks like there are different renewal terms, so that may be it, just depending on their pricing, because the pricing does increase for the, let's see.
For the later one.
Yeah, both of them increased.
Yeah, for the later one, the one that begins in
well, you got one in February.
looks cheaper than the one that beginning in June. Yeah, so it's just different renewal terms and when that increase kicks in, it looks like, Commissioner.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, have a motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass.
G5 is authorization of memorandum of understanding with Heart of Texas Council of Governments for participation in the Heart of Texas Regional Coordination Committee. Heather?
Yes, good morning.
Morning.
So this is an MOU that I think we looked back in some records and couldn't find one previously, but I think it's pretty standard and it'll be included in the TxDOT application for funding for the Regional Coordination Committee as part of HotCog. And Judge, I think you and I are both members of the board,
Right.
but this particular MOU I think is requiring us to list two alternates, so I'm not sure how we want to fill that portion out.
So are you talking about alternates or are you talking about proxies?
Well, I'm thinking it's just referring to alternates, and I didn't have anyone in mind.
So the purpose is to be sure they have a quorum?
I believe so.
I think that's
But
right.
you know, yes, sir, but I needed to get a clarification, I guess, because it's different than our health board, because the alternates for our health board, they were for quorum and to be able to vote, but I didn't get the impression this was, but I could get some clarification.
So this is transportation coordination?
Yeah, regional transportation coordination.
That's what this one is?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, then it's part of Texas Government's Regional Coordination Committee.
Yeah. And so
That's what it says.
they've been having problems getting a quorum. My suggestion would be that we approve the MOU, but that Heather, so Dustin would, whoever would, if we have to.
Well, Judge, we have not,
I've been to almost every single meeting minus 2 or 3 in the last 3+ years, and we've not ever not had a meeting due to a quorum. So
Okay.
I believe we're okay in that department, unless you've heard otherwise.
No.
Okay.
I thought that was the reason for the alternate,
Intent,
but
yeah.
I think it's mostly, if, from what I understand, just to have involvement. You know, if for some reason we're unable to attend, there's still active involvement.
okay, I understand that. And I know, like, for MPO, I'll select a commissioner to be my proxy when I can't be there. And, yeah, and so, I thought that's what it was.
Yeah, well, I don't know, probably don't know, but my question, Judge, is that where, it's stating here in our agenda that we have 2 members on it, correctly?
Yeah,
And then on our memorandum of understanding, which I guess this is, Regional Coordination Committee, it says, intention, McLennan County pledges to designate 1 representative and up to 2 alternate representatives. That's not correct, is it? We should
Well,
have 2, we should have 2 representatives, shouldn't we?
I think that's where I was confused, because Judge and I both are already members. Would we just need an alternate? Because we're only required to have 1, but we have 2.
okay, so I think we need clarification. Let's see,
And I checked with Misty and about your position, Judge, and they still consider your position active.
yeah. Okay, so are we in a deadline issue or anything like that?
Yes, sir. They need these turned in by March 20th,
Or what?
so that they can submit them along with the text dot application for funding.
Oh, I got you, yeah.
You think maybe they just wrote this wrong? It should say 2 representatives?
I don't personally think so. I think we're just required to have 1. We just so happen here in McLennan to have 2, if that makes sense. But we're only required to have 1 with 2 alternates.
And I think, and Reagan can correct me, but I think she researched and we had not like formally done this MOU before in the past. I think Heather, I think that's a requirement, text dot requirement, and that we have 2 representatives. And if we want to identify additional alternates, we can essentially.
So we could approve the MOU and then just put in the 2 that we thought counted, Heather and myself.
Yeah, and I think we can clarify with them to make sure it's okay to include Heather here, and if not, if y'all want to identify 2 additional alternates, since Heather is officially a representative.
Well, off the top of my head, I don't know, and Heather doesn't have anybody want to volunteer to be an alternate?
I'll be an alternate.
All right, Will Jones.
I'll be an alternate.
We have,
Not a big deal.
and they don't even know the membership fee yet.
They do feed you. There's always free food.
I'll be an alternate as long as y'all always show up, you 2.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we've got 2 names here, and so I would recommend we approve the MOU. We'll draw it up. We'll get a little clarification, but we have at least enough people now that we can make them happy, so, and get them qualified to apply for the grant. Qualified.
But the memorandum should state that we're naming two representatives.
Yeah.
Both you and Heather.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I'll make that motion.
Second.
All right, motion, second, any other discussion? No discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass.
Thank you.
Oh, all right, we'll move down to item G8 regarding the software as a service agreement and amendment with Tyler Technologies, authorization of additional amendment for Tyler Check Manager software, Vines interface software, and legacy system information. John?
John, I'm sorry, I thought we were getting you.
Excuse me, so what this is a change order for the Tyler project. This is a $0 change order. This is just clarifying a few things. In the original agreement, the Tyler's check manager software and the Vines interface software were not spelled out. They were all agreed upon on both parties. We just didn't have it spelled out in agreement, so they're just making that change.
And also, they're replacing section 9.1 in the statement of work, just to clarify that we are doing the conversion from EDOC. So it's enterprise justice case manager, enterprise justice attorney manager, and enterprise corrections jail manager to get that data over from the previous application. Again, this was all understood, it just wasn't spelled out. They're just legally spelling it out now. So
Okay.
we're just asking for the signature on that agreement, or approval for a signature for the judge to sign it.
Okay. Any questions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Pass.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving to item G9 regarding the United States Marshal Service Intergovernmental Service Agreements. G9A is a modification of a contract P0007. G9B is one ending in 4. And these are just essentially standard things we do where it de-obligates excess fundings as it closes out those contracts. But Major Ives, anything you want to add on these?
No, these are not with technically the U.S. Marshal Service. It's with ICE. It's the ICE de-obligation. They do this 20 times a year. It's very standard.
Okay. Any questions? I'll make a motion we approve.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
Moving on to item H, capital improvement and construction projects. H1s regarding Chapel Road improvements, bid 23-013, agreement with Casparian Underground, doing business as H&B Contractors, authorization of application for payment number 13. Zane?
Yes, sir. So this is for Chapel Roads, the monthly payment application, totaling $411,436.45. The county's roadway portion of that is $294,336.10. Their pay application has been reviewed and it's recommended for approval.
All right. Any questions?
Zane, have they, I know last time that we had court, we mentioned that they were gonna open up to the neighbors, the Ritchie Road end of the project. Has that happened yet?
I don't believe it's happened yet. That's what they're working towards, not only the Ritchie Road end, but also the old Lorena end. And their idea is to move the barricades and put up signage that says through or local traffic only. But they were having to install some water line, and so that was preventing them from opening up that end.
But once we do, then we, the Hambleton and the Farm Miller Road, the usage will go way down.
That's correct.
Okay. Motion to approve.
All right. Have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass. Thank you.
Moving on to item I, budget amendments. I1s regarding the FY24 budget. Francis?
Thank you. So we do have a few budget amendments today for FY24. We are currently wrapping up the financial report, but our audit is still ongoing. So that will be done before the end of March. These are amendments that are related to year-end accounting entries. And so I'll start with I1A. This is a certification of revenue and related budget amendment. These are for the Sabita and lease agreements entered into in FY24. So Sabita is software-based IT arrangements. And so any of those agreements we enter into, we have to find the present value of those agreements, and we book them as an asset and liability during that year. And so you'll see there, we have increased those line items for those agreements by $1,094,847, and then we have a corresponding revenue line. These are not cash related, so there's no cash in and out. It is just for accounting purposes. I1B, this is a cleanup for the general fund. The first line is just an additional amount, $209 needed in a social security taxes line. And then the second line there, also related to leases and Sabita. And so we budget for those software costs within the budget, but at year end, we have to move into a principal or interest payment. And so again, just for accounting purposes, was budgeted, just allowing us to make those entries. And so you'll see there we're moving from other line items where those software costs were budgeted into the principal line for lease and Sabita. And then I-1C, this is in Fund 122, the County Clerk Records Management Fund, and then same purpose. So this budget amendment is allowing us to reclass what we had budgeted as software licensing for the year and reclass that to a principal and interest payment. So it's just the way it appears on our financial statements. If there's no questions there, I'll keep moving on through the 2025 budget
questions?
amendments.
If not, proceed.
All right. So I'll skip around a little bit as a couple of these have already been approved. But starting with I-2A, this is a certification of revenue and related budget amendment. So this is certifying that this revenue was not in the original budget, and this is related to interlocal agreement revenue with the city of Lacey Lakeview. The requested budget amendment is requesting to increase road construction materials in Road and Bridge 3. I-2B, we need to pull with no action. I-2C, this is in Fund 151. It is our special revenue fund, which is the Language Access Fund. And this is a request to move with, to language translation services in the 19th District Court within that fund. And so, of course, we want to utilize those funds as much as possible. And then I-2D, this is also Fund 151, and the request is to move into the line item for language translation for County Court at Law number 1. We already approved I-2E. I-2F, this is Fund 421, the 2021 bond proceeds, and this is just an additional amount needed for some Lingerman engineering professional services. It's just an additional amount that exceeded what we had originally budgeted, and so that bid is attached to that budget amendment that has already been approved. So just requesting to adjust that line item. I-2G1, this is General Fund, Heart of Texas Fairgrounds. The request is to increase that line item for general repair and maintenance cost for the fairgrounds. So you'll see there that the estimate at this point is $39,800, which hopefully will cover cost throughout the rest of the year. I-2G2 has already been approved. I-2H1, this is a budget amendment in the general fund, IT specifically. They're requesting to move within that department into other services and charges, and this will cover the cost of a cabling project, specifically being done in the judge's office, county courthouse. I'm going to skip over I-2H2, as that, I think we need to have IT speak on that. And then I-2I, this is General Fund Road and Bridge 2. They're requesting to move within their department into repair and maintenance for costs for the remainder of the year. And then I-2J, I'm going to also pull with no action today.
I pull no action on that one.
So again, any questions? But I'll sum up the ones I spoke on if you want me to.
Any questions on any of those covered? If not,
So it was, as I say, it was I-1A, B, and C, I-2A, C, D, F, G1, H1, and I.
I make a motion, we approve those mentioned.
Second.
So, motion made, second, any other discussion? No discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
So that, I skipped over I-2H2. I think IT needed to speak on that matter.
Okay.
I knew you'd be back.
We had you covered.
He's nickel and
Yes.
diming it today, isn't he?
So this is, excuse me, we have to upgrade our secure FTP application to solve a few security problems. It's a one-time upgrade fee of $50. The renewal is not due for a while, so the only request here is that we had allowed to spend the $50 to upgrade it. It's a security upgrade for our FTP.
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, I have a motion, second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
All right, moving on to item J, real estate and easements. J1's discussion or action regarding Texas Department of Transportation, sale of state-owned property in accordance with the Texas Transportation Code. So it's 1209 to 1219 South Hewitt Drive. Zane?
Yes, sir. So this is some text dot right away off of Hewitt Drive, located at 1209 to 1219 South Hewitt Drive. They no longer need this right of way. And since Texas Transportation Code allows governmental entities to purchase the property, they're asking the county if we want to purchase it. They've offered it to the county for $21,000. And it's my recommendation, since it's in, it's not anything that we would need in the near future. This would be my recommendation that we decline their offer and not purchase the right of way.
Just under an acre, right?
Correct.
Well, and I'm fully in agreement with this just because we've acquired property in the past through tax liens that end up costing us far more than the
Yeah.
property's worth.
Yeah,
I didn't mind a snow cone stand, but all right.
That's not, that property owner would want to buy that. Do we have to decline it for the property owner to get?
I don't know how that.
Choice?
I would think that would clear the deck for that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, is that in the city limits of Hewitt? Spring Valley right there, Spring Valley and Hewitt Drive? I mean, will they have so the city would have an option also then probably?
Zane, do you know?
Assuming that,
I believe so. I believe it is in the city limits, if I remember correctly, but they have to offer it to all government entities that
Right.
can condemn property.
Right.
So we are one of the first rights to be offered.
Okay. So, do we need to do, if we're not gonna, do we have to take any action or just?
We would, it's my recommendation that the judge fill out the paperwork that was sent in to us, and the court approve the judge to sign it and return it, saying that we have no desire for this property.
Okay,
make a motion to allow the judge to execute the proper paperwork to deny their request for us to buy that property for $21,000.
okay. All right, is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and second. Any other discussion? No discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass. Thank you, Zane.
J2 is ratification of commercial contract amendment. This is on the building at 2124 North 25th Street. All this does is align the 90-day feasibility period to start on the date that the letter of intent was signed. So it just will shorten that feasibility period by just a little bit, but it's been reviewed and recommended for approval.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
Moving on to item K, grants, grant proposals. K1 is our ARPA discussion. K1A is regarding professional services agreement with Forvis Mazars, authorization of amendment number 3. If we could defer this today, I noticed maybe an error on the rates, so I'm working with Forvis to get that corrected.
I'll make a motion, we defer.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
K1B is regarding Old Springfield Road water system improvements, agreement with Meckel Contracting, authorization of application for payment number 1. Zane?
Yes, sir. So this is the first payment for the water line extension along Old Springfield Road in Precinct 2. It's going to be paid for with ARPA funding. The invoice has been reviewed and it's recommended for approval.
Okay, any questions? All right, no questions. What's the pleasure? of the court?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
Right, item K2 is regarding the Office of the Governor, Public Safety Office, Border Prosecution Unit grant, ratification of grant application, and related resolution forms for the FY 2026 TAG Prosecutor Grant. I don't know if we have anybody from the DA's office to present this. If not, this was one that was actually due last week, so it is ratification of that application. They're requesting grant funding totaling $543,340.90, and there is a breakdown. It's largely personnel, equipment, supplies, travel, and training. This will provide for a prosecuting attorney to handle cases in McLennan and other counties with permission of a local prosecutor that are generated by the TAG office and its role as a center to support efforts to stop gang activity and violence within the state.
Is this not a little backwards?
Yeah, this really
I think
should
the
have come
nice way to
before,
put it, but
because the questions we generally ask on these grants and, is, if it's personnel, what happens when the grant runs out? You get a commitment from the office that those jobs will be eliminated? Or there's no guarantee the court's gonna fund them in the future, outside of when the grant ends and those kind of things. But this one had its $500,000, it had a deadline, so this is more ratification. Go ahead.
And we currently have this same grant that we've been utilizing for this purpose. So these positions were already falling under that grant, the previous grant award. So this, of course, would be for next year, but just to add that to the information.
Yeah, good. That's good information. So this is a case where there was a grant and then it matured, and this is the grant to carry it forward.
Yes, sir.
I guess we probably asked the question back then, what happens, but it's always a question, just for FYI for everybody, is how do you address it when it's personnel, especially the issue when the grants play out, so.
I just don't remember.
We, Judge, have the right to just not fund that position should that grant vaporize?
I think, it's.
We would have that.
I think every year.
$30,000
We'd have that prerogative.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we are, the
That's
court makes that
what,
decision.
4 or 5 positions?
Yeah,
It's just typically we're approving these and not ratifying them.
Yeah.
That's my only point.
Yeah, that's right,
I
that's
don't
right.
have any issue with this, but
I think it just snuck up on everyone, yeah. I don't have a problem. I think it's a great program. Anything we can do to,
And it's a 2-year
Helping that-
grant, so that covers 2 years
it
as well.
covers 2 years?
So
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay, what's the pleasure of the court?
Motion to approve.
second.
Motion made, second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass.
K3 is regarding the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services Title 4E grant. This is authorization of Title 4E Child Welfare Services claim for quarter ending December 31st, 2024. And then K4 is under the Title 4E grant authorization of legal assistance claim for the quarter ending December 31st, 2024. Francis.
So nothing more to add, just those two claim requests. One for child welfare, the federal reimbursement being requested is $41.40. And under K4 for legal services, federal reimbursement request $48,761.90.
A little bit of difference.
Yep. All right,
Motion to approve, Judge, both requests.
All right.
Or to approve.
all right, I'll second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, pass.
K5 is regarding the Rural Law Enforcement Grant, Senate Bill 22, authorization of funding allocation for the Sheriff's Office. Major Ives?
How are y'all? So this is a plan for trying to change the vehicles that we are requesting to purchase with the SB 22 funding. We were originally going to buy all Toyota Corollas, but the needs of the department, we need a couple vehicles that can haul more equipment for some of our SWAT team guys that carry a significant amount. The little Corollas only hold 600 pounds is their maximum load capacity with passengers, cargo, and accessories. So we're trying to get F-150 and a Jeep Grand Cherokee. The F-150 is a base model, and the Jeep Grand Cherokee is about 2,000 above the cheapest version of the Grand Cherokee, which is the medium-sized SUV for Jeep that you can purchase.
All right, any questions?
So you're marking off the Toyota Corollas then, Major?
Well, and what we're doing is we're just reducing the amount of Corollas so we can get those vehicles to replace ones that the way it actually works, Commissioners, we have we can buy these with these grant funds, and it could affect the 001 and the FY26 requests in a positive manner.
Like that.
Okay, any other questions?
Did he say could or will? What was-
Yeah. Or may or shall.
I'd make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, I have motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass. Thank you.
All right, moving down to item L2, Child Protective Court, discussion and or action regarding space allocation. So currently Judge Minkowski, who is the judge presiding over the Child Protective Court, she offices out of the third floor of the courthouse in a small office for her and another for her staff. She utilizes the visiting courtroom in the annex building. It's her primary space, and she has to schedule it among other activities. She has no place to leave her materials when she's presiding in court in the annex courtroom, in the visiting courtroom. And so I went and walked the space with her last week. There is a jury room in this location that is very underutilized. Visited with Judge Kelly, visited with John Gimble as well. There's also a visiting judge's office back behind the bench, but in talking to Gimble, he would like to maintain that for anytime we do have a visiting judge, which is roughly every other month, to have a place to be able to set their space down and be able to office out of. And there's some stuff in there, storage, that looks like needs to be relocated as well. But in the discussions, we think that visiting courtroom, jury room is probably the best location for her and her staff to be able to office out of. Judge Kelly is on board with it. Visited with TJ and Judge Felton, and that is our recommendation, is that we assign the visiting courtroom, jury room to the Child Protective Court for their office needs.
Question on that. So we have an office that won't be utilized because there's.
So the office, yeah, it's utilized like once every 2 months, I think.
And there's other places that could happen.
Well, it would be, I'm sorry, Commissioner, go ahead.
I don't think it's wise of us to use offices for storage.
Yeah.
I mean, we think about this, right? That's what we used to have here, and we've had to clear everything out.
Yeah.
I just don't think if it's office space, it's wise for storage.
I agree.
I'm a little confused. Where is this located, here in the courthouse or over in the annex that we're making this space?
In the annex building, Commissioner, so where the
Okay.
jury call is done in the visiting courtroom, there is a jury room there, and just acoustic issues, it has just been underutilized throughout the years.
Okay,
And so that is the thought, yes, sir.
okay.
Does she need both, though, I guess my question is.
At this time, she would be happy with just a dedicated space. She would be happy with the one spot, Commissioner. And I think it's really, whichever one of the two spots the court chooses. We thought after she looked at both spots, she would be very happy with the jury room. It's actually a little bit larger than that office, but we can do whatever the court would like to do. This was just our solution to this problem.
Is she going to use it as an office or storage?
It will be her office. It'll actually be her and her staff's office. There'll be multiple people in there, but it gives her a place. She's on the third floor of the courthouse, and so back kind of outside the 19th jury room, it used to be an old
Right.
video visitation room. She's in that area. And so like I say, when she's in court over there, and when she has to leave for another hearing or something that's happened there, yeah, and she has to bring her materials, her laptop and things back with her, and it's just inconvenient.
Oh, okay. So then she will be totally located in the annex then?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Best use of space, we recommend that action. I'd make a motion, we approve that recommendation.
Second.
Have a motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
L3, purchasing authorization of online auction with Rene Bates, related ad in order declaring certain property as surplus and authorizing the disposition of same. Ken?
Yes, we have gathered together 12 more lots of items that can go to auction. We have items at purchasing at the Cobb's Building and Highway 6 Jail. And if approved by the court, this auction would run from 4/3/2025 to 4/3/2025.
Okay, any questions?
The millions we make off these auctions, do they go back into general funds? Is that what happens with the
Yes.
money?
Yes, and if it's something purchased with forfeiture funds, we will make sure that money goes back to
Right.
those funds. So it just depends, but usually, yes. it
Depends
is.
on what the items are, okay.
Most of the
Generally-
time.
Most times, general fund.
The bulk of
Okay.
it is general
All right,
fund.
thank you. Motion to, has there already been a motion to approve? I'm sorry.
We need a motion.
Okay, motion to approve.
Second?
Motion made second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass.
L4 is tax assessor collector authorizations regarding designation of McLennan County homestead exemptions for the 2025 tax roll. So the appraisal district is asking for the status of these exemptions. We are maxed out on the county homestead, which is at that 20% level, $5,000 minimum. On the county 65 and over, there is no max, so we're at the 20% plus the $35,000 exemption.
Okay, so we just need a motion to keep that at that level.
Yes, sir.
I make that motion to keep that at that level.
Second.
Motion made second, any other discussion? No discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass.
Moving down to item M, additional items. M1 is discussion or action regarding proposed pending state or federal legislation. We just have this on in case anyone would like to discuss any pending legislative matters.
So, let me think, it was 2 weeks ago when I went before the Appropriations Committee asking for emergency funding for some mental health work that was discussed previously in the presentation pertaining to all the mental health and BHN, Prosper Waco, all those things. It was, the request was for $10 million to support first response, and a few other things that, and it's 10 million, it's 5 million a year for 2 years. And then from that, we would come back the following for a larger, more significant, request that's gonna be available out there, probably in the $40–50 million range. And so that passed through committee. The other one was let's see, the other one was a presentation by the Bell County judge on the Central Texas Water Alliance. The committee they voted 100% to support creating the Central Texas Water Alliance, which would be a partnership between the primaries would be McLennan and Bell County and all the cities, Waco's interest, Temple, all the cities in that area, to bring water from outside the district into Central Texas on top of the water that we already have. And this is just to support the legislation to allow it, which includes a key factor in there for this to happen. That's an eminent domain. And so there's no commitment other than asking legislators to allow us to start the process. At some point in time, then there'll be stakeholders that come in and for allocations of water sometime in the future. And of course, there'd be a cost to that. And that's when this group would make a decision on what we want to do. I think it's a smart move. We're going to be hitting the limit of the water that we have available now by before 2070, and could be getting short on groundwater before that time. And so this is a move to be sure that the people that follow us have adequate water. It takes planning. These are anywhere from 10 to 20 to 30 year deals, and so you got to get started somewhere. So that's the purpose of that. Next step would be it would go to the the Senate, because the sponsor of the bill was Senator Flores, and it's supported by Senator Birdwell. And in the House was State Representative Buckley, in Bell County, supported by and co-sponsored or joint sponsored by State Representative Curry. And there's a lot of, there's going to be a significant amount of investment from Texas all across to put ourselves in a better position water-wise, from desalination to moving water from outside areas to interbasin transfers, they call them. And so that's where we are with that. There's a lot of legislation that could affect us. I've seen more things that negatively affect us than positively affect us, but so there'll be time for us to start working on that. So, and if y'all see anything that we need to support or.
Yeah, so one thing I saw, when on my trip to Washington DC is there seems to be a move afoot to do away with tax-free municipal bonds. And that would, if you see anything as far as that, that would be a huge problem.
Yeah.
And a huge cost shift to the local taxpayers for those, for the bonds that we issue.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't generate that much revenue for the federal government.
Yeah.
So.
Well, those are.
And they so some of them already understand that, like there was a talk about, well, it's just for sanctuary cities or this or that. But, if you do it on one, it might be easy to do it at all.
Yeah.
And then I actually got a letter just this morning regarding LPPF. And the state is, the House Budget Committee is wanting to lower the limits on, let's see, the House Budget Committee is proposing phasing down provider assessments, including LPPS, from 6% to 3% in 2028. So, I mean, you're talking about that would reduce funding back.
Yeah, back to
the hospitals and,
covering uncompensated care.
Reduce Medicaid funding.
Yeah.
For Texas hospital and safety net providers, jeopardize essential health care services, especially in high need areas, disable rural and urban hospitals, leading to potential closures. If they don't have the money, they can't stay open. Right. Shift financial burdens away from the federal government and onto state and local communities.
That sounds familiar. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mandates.
That's boilerplate, sadly.
Yep.
And maybe on our next, when we do our next department head reviews and there's time, Dustin, we can put on the agenda to get legislative updates at that time too, and even have state's representative or senator to call in on Zoom and give us an update on what's going on, or key staff members. So,
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
All right, moving on to item M2 regarding the McLennan County Local Proprietor Participation Fund, the LPPF. This is authorization of an IGT under the Uncompensated Care Program. Heather?
Yes, sir. So HHSC has identified some additional funds available for the Uncompensated Care Demonstration Year 7, Federal Fiscal Year 2018. And they're requesting the IGT $158,110.53. with a due date of Tuesday, March 18th, a settlement date of Wednesday, March 19th. But of course, we're requesting to IGT up to the balance in the LPPF on the date of transfer, which is today, just in case it changes.
Okay. All right. What's the pleasure of the court?
Motions to approve up to the balance in the LPPF account on the day of the IGT.
All right, I'll second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed.
Right, item M4, authorization of appointments to the McLennan County 911 Emergency Assistance District Board of Managers. Currently, Commissioner Perry and Frank Patterson serve as our representatives on this 911 board. I believe both would like to continue to serve in that capacity, so this would be authorization for the reappointment of Commissioner Perry and Frank Patterson to the board for another 2-year term.
Okay, any nominations from the floor?
I'll make a motion.
I doubt it.
I'll make a motion to approve the two that are listed.
All right.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed.
M6, authorization of appointment to the Waco Convention Center and Visitors Bureau Commission. So Wes Allison is currently our appointee to that commission, and so Wes is recommending that Dustin Sufall be appointed to fill that vacancy to represent McLennan County.
Yeah, it's important that Heart Texas Fair have a representative on there because
Yes.
they bring in a lot of events and they know more about this than most other people, so I would make that motion that we put Dustin in there.
Second.
Have a motion and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
M7, selection designation of public members of the Salary Grievance Committee regarding the FY26 budget. Mercedes?
Yes, it is time that we draw names for the FY '26 Budget Salary Grievance Committee. So Commissioner Perry, if you would, I need you to draw.
Dustin, while they're drawing, is this the only option we have been selected this committee?
Judge, I think there is another option through the county clerk. I can look it up really quick.
Well, so we can go ahead and start this.
Yeah.
And, but before we do the final adoption of these folks, I would like to look at other options.
Well, there was another option, wasn't there, an alternative method, but it ended up with some appointed officials
Yeah,
or.
and-
Right.
And that wasn't,
It cuts the taxpayer out, which is part I don't like.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was either appointed officials, and it seemed
Yeah.
like, Judge, you had to be on it or something. I don't remember now, but.
Yeah, that's right. It was a group of elected officials, but in terms of selecting the public members, so as an alternative to the process we're doing right now, Commissioners Court may direct the county clerk to use a computer to generate a randomized list of the names of all persons who served on a grand jury. And then the commissioners can adopt that randomized list, it looks like.
But then what happens if they all decline?
I guess you keep going down that list. Yeah, it looks like it gets into if the list, yeah, you have a list of alternates, if it's exhausted, and then you keep going to remaining names.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
Let's just start out this way this year, and if we think we can change it, we'll look at it next year. And I'm kind of determined to, I've never seen anybody that I know, and this was amazing to me. Anyway,
And that's part of it. So you get people on this to make these decisions and they have, some of them have skills and some of them have none. Well, never mind. Go ahead. That sounded like Biden, didn't it? Never mind.
name number one,
Okay?
Jason Graves.
Oh, I know him. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, Ben.
I could use a drum roll. It would- Jessica Fischetti.
Oh, I know the Fischettis.
I think I know her. I have to shut myself up there. Crystal Mesa. Rachel Bowles. Sonia Mitchell. Christopher Miller. Avery Paul Odom. Jesus Manuel Argueta.
Okay, so one more regular and then 6 alternates.
One more regular and then 6 alternates. The final regular, Stacy McNamara. Or Stacia, I'm not sure which.
I kind of bet you we get to those alternates, though.
Okay, ready for alternates. Kenneth Cox. Let me give these people a chance. And Aaron Welchel. Kayla Hinojosa. Samantha Kozort.
2 more.
One more?
2 more.
2 more. Perfect number laying out there. Zilpha Brown. and John Minix.
That's it, thank you.
And we will be doing this again.
I'm glad we sit on this side.
Well, Ben likes doing that. He gets
He
to
does.
I'm fixing to have to get better cheaters.
All right, what's next, Dustin?
All right, moving on to item M8 regarding the 2025 North and East Texas County Judges and Commissioners Association Annual Conference Host Court Night event. Suzanne is on if there's any questions. I'll just kind of step through these items. M8A is authorization of entertainment contract with Sloppy Joe Trio, totals $1,800. M8B is authorization of catering services agreement with Terry Black's Barbecue Waco. It looks like this has an estimated total of $35,657.50. And then M8C is recording of a vendor sponsorship letter. So Suzanne, is there anything you would like to add or go over?
We can't hear you, Suzanne.
You're on mute.
Try it again.
You there?
Not working? Can we use silent? Is this your recommendation?
Yes.
Okay, that's good enough.
That's good enough. How
So
many
you got
members
two
in that,
thumbs up.
how many members are in that band?
Hey, it's called a trio.
I'm sorry.
Motion.
I have one question, sorry. I see we've got, did we solely go to Terry Black's or did we try and get because I would recommend Hellberg as well, possibly if they.
Well, I think the idea was on Terry Black's is that it's downtown here where they're, so the transportation's a lot easier. There will, and
Oh, they're not catering then?
no.
Is that
It's,
AC?
well, so I know the thing's at the Hilton,
Oh,
but it's still downtown. It's closer.
Okay. I just know we got local ownership.
Yep, it will be in the,
Kind of stick up for the local guy.
it will be at Terry Black's. We'll have the whole restaurant.
Okay, I got what you're doing now. Perfect.
what's the recommendation of the court?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion, second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye. Aye. Oppose, pass. Thank you, Suzanne.
Thank you, Suzanne.
Do you need to do that 8C since there's, or, included both of them?
What, HC, what is it?
Recording of the vendor sponsorship letter.
Is that included in yours or not?
Will make a motion to approve M8C as well.
And I'll second M8.
All right.
See?
Have a motion and second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose, pass.
Right, we have nothing under item N this week. Moving on to item O, McLennan County Downtown Jail Remodel Project. O1 regarding the construction manager at risk agreement with John W. Irwin. This is O1A, authorization of application for partial payment number 3. Ken, did you want to go over this or would you like for me to?
It doesn't matter to me, Dustin.
It looks like it totals $1,385,321 for construction services to date.
Yeah. It's way out there too.
And was reviewed by Brinkley Sargent.
Yes.
I'll make a motion, we approve.
Second.
Have a motion and second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose, pass.
And I know we did a lot of skipping around, but I think that was all the action items. If we can just confirm that.
That's correct.
Yes.
And Judge, did you want to do a quick executive session on real property?
Yes. All right, we would go into executive session, need, Francis, Dustin, and the court, stay in.
And TJ, come over too, Judge.
Yeah, and TJ come over too, quick as you can.
Recording stopped.
But, stand up. Sound off. call the court back in session. All right, is there anything else to come before the court? We cleared everything on the agenda, is that correct? All right, we stand adjourned. Thank you.
Recording stopped.
Did you guys see the other day, what's this little trade war with Canada? And Canada threatened to, cut the USA off from Pornhub.
From what?
From Pornhub. Go ahead, knock yourself out. All right. I can't believe that's like, hey, we're gonna be retired.